Hello, gamers. You're listening to the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. This is episode number 155. And welcome back to another edition of the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. I'm Brent Felsing, and joining me tonight, Frankie Ayler, Ben Boyce, Bender Holt. Gentlemen, how are we doing this evening?
Good.
Just fine.
Awesome. Awesome. So, this is another week, another show, and we are going to continue to tweak the format of this show. And this week we have the next phase, if you will, of how this podcast is evolving. We're going to start off with what we've been playing. Then we're going to talk about the Spotlight releases this week, and then we will get into the news. Now, we have other plans for the rest of the new releases. This week, you can head over to the website. You'll be able to see the full release list of the games coming out. And then after we come back from our break after next weekend, we'll have a video to go along with that new release post. So this week, just the Spotlight titles we'll talk about here, and then you can come over to the website, and you can see the rest of the new releases. The next show that we have, we'll have the new format where we have the website. You can see the post on the website, and there'll be a video to accompany it. Now that everyone's confused, let's jump into what we've been playing.
Brent, I just want to let you know that sounds good, man. Cheers to you.
Oh, for Christ's sakes. Here we go. Congratulations, boys. You got an easy path to the championship game. I'm already calling it right now. You guys are going to crush Loyola, and that's that. So I'm happy for you.
Oh, you're talking about sports ball. Okay.
It's sports ball stuff, Frankie. The worst kind of sports ball, but Ben's on cloud nine, and I'm happy for him.
You ever just like hear bitterness like oozing from someone's voice? Like, it's crazy. Like you can actually hear the bitterness inside you.
No, man, I'm happy for Michigan. I'm a state of Michigan fan, and I'm really happy for your guys. So let's hop into what we've been playing. Frankie, let's start with you, man. What have you been playing this week?
Well, a lot of Sea of Thieves, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, Monster Hunter.
What'd you guys
I
get?
know.
Shocking.
Yeah. Yeah. So we fired up a stream very, very late on Wednesday night. There's a reason behind that. We'll talk about probably later because it's one of the funnier things that we've done in Sea of Thieves so far. But yeah, we hopped into Monster Hunter as we do, and definitely killed some monsters. So we hopped in. We were just gonna do a hunt or two because it was pretty late. So we did a Pookie and Great Jagras just to get one of the milestones for the week done. And, we decided, all right, well, let's take on the next Elder Dragon on the list. So we settled on, I don't know, Benner, what's his name? Kushala Dora or something?
Something like that. Kushala Dora.
Yeah. Jamie calls him Blue Eyes Steel Dragon, so that's what we're going with for him. So, we beat him. Jamie didn't tell us about the tornado field at the end of the battle. It was great. So,
what happens in the tornado field?
Oh, so Jamie totally forgot about this, but you get to like the last stage of the fight, and so when you fight him, he swoops up in the air and drops these big tornadoes that kind of sit, and you walk into them and you're kind of stunned trying to get your way through the wind. Mm-hmm. So when he goes back to basically his nest, there's probably 6 or 7 of those when he goes up, so they'd start surrounding you. Now Jamie I don't remember this. Okay.
Yeah, it's a relatively small area too, so you're just like trying to fight this dragon, and he's flying around, and there's tornadoes everywhere. It's insane.
Yeah, totally, but obviously not very memorable. So whatever. But so yeah, we ended up slaying him. That was shocking. I didn't think it was going to happen on our first try, but we got him. So that was exciting. That was all Monster Hunter I did this week, though. It's kind of depressing.
Yeah. I think it's awesome that you guys are dedicated. I'm glad you guys were able to really commit to this game. And Frankie, I just want to get this on the air for record's sake. How many hours do you have in Monster Hunter combined amongst all the systems?
Combined, about 215.
Ladies and gentlemen, 215 hours of Monster Hunter. That is really, really impressive, Frankie. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Frankie, to USA. Cheers.
Oh my god, just nonstop. What's your hunter rank now?
Still, I think, what are we at, 14?
14, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Once you finish the story, it uncaps, so everything you've done, your level will shoot up based on that.
Oh,
but
okay.
it caps you at 16 until you're at the end of the story. Like, that's as high as you can get.
Are you guys getting pretty close to the end of the story?
Yes, I think after we have one more Elder Dragon in the set that we're doing now, and from what I understand, the next mission we get is the last dragon we have to kill. So we're almost there.
Excellent. Wow. Guys are hammering out. Anything else this week?
Nope, not a damn thing.
Bender, I turn to you, my friend. How about you? What have you been playing other than Monster Hunter?
Other than Monster Hunter, still trying to make my way through Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I think I'm getting kind of close to the end, question mark, possibly. Because the whole point of the story, I mean, is try to get to the World Tree, and that's where I'm going now. So I must be pretty close, maybe. But I'm like over 85 hours in that game. So we'll see. But still enjoying it. I love that there's tons of side quests, and even when there's not side quests to do, you've got those mercenary missions. You're sending your blades off to gain XP, so you've always got a steady stream of XP coming in. So it never feels stale or anything. You never hit a wall or where you have to go grind away or anything like that. So that's cool. But yeah, that's what I've been playing lately, and hopefully I'll be able to finish that game soon and get that one under my belt.
Once you complete that, what's your next Switch game to tackle?
Next Switch game?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I do need to go back to Kirby. That's probably what I'll do next, yeah. Okay. I've still got Owlboy I want to go back to, but I think Kirby will be the next one.
All right, excellent. That's a fine
That's
choice.
next on my list, too.
That's your next game, Frankie? Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you, Mr. Holt. Boys, let's turn it over to you. Let's talk to Tuesday Night Indie Spotlight. This week we featured Octahedron, a game that I didn't think I was going to enjoy nearly as much as I did. Talk to me about Octahedron, dude.
Octahedron is a very unique puzzle game. So it's not necessarily a rhythm based puzzle game, but it's music is a big part of it. It's got an epic soundtrack, as we found out this week. What was the final tally on that? 2.5 hours, something like that. On
2.5 hours of music, baby.
Yeah, 2.5 hours of music. This really catchy, thumping techno soundtrack that's a big part of Octahedron is kind of like the thing that hooks you into the game initially. In fact, when you first start up the game, the menu music is really like entrancing. So you're sitting down and you're like, all right, this is cool. You kind of vibe into it. Then you get into the game, and what you find is this really interesting platformer, this puzzle platformer, where you're trying to move your Tron-like character over to the goal, and it's all based around your ability to create these platforms. And they layer in all these different things as you go through each of these levels. So one level you're simply making platforms, and you can only make a certain number of platforms before you can't make any anymore. So you've got to figure out how to get from point A to point B in the limited amount of jumps and platforms that you have. So so usually you have 2 platforms that you can make to get from one area to the next. But then they start layering things in there. There's different enemies that start to come into play. There's different obstacles in the level. So, there's this platform, for instance, where you have to go all the way to the left or the right side of each of the levels to get them to kind of form, and then you use them to go back across the level. It's difficult to explain in words. It's easier if you watch the video. We have it up on the website or on the YouTube channel right now. So, Short Pause Gaming, come on over there, watch the Tuesday Night Indie Spotlight to see what Octahedron's all about. But I just like that it's a unique puzzler, and it's not really like anything else that I've played before in the puzzle space. It's got a very just unique feel, and we've seen these kind of like techno-inspired soundtracks in games before, but just the kind of synergy between the game and the soundtrack is really cool. The level kind of pulses to the beat as well.
Yeah.
in certain aspects, it does actually factor into the gameplay as well. There's certain obstacles that kind of go with the rhythm of the beat. So it's really cool, man. It's a really cool game. It's highly recommended from myself on the little bit that I've played so far. If you're into puzzle games, if you're into techno music, if you're into kind of a different take on the puzzle genre, it's part of the Square Enix collective. So that's also cool. So this is their kind of indie publishing arm that they go out and kind of bring in some of these smaller titles. But yeah, I really liked that I played at Octahedra, man. I really want to play some more of it. It's challenging as well. That's a pretty tough game. They have these collectibles littered throughout the level as well that you go in and try to figure out how to obtain. And a couple of the later levels I played I couldn't figure out how to get those collectibles. So, there's some of that in there as well. It's not just simply just maneuvering through the level. There's other stuff that goes into it as well. But yeah, really, really cool game, man. I can't wait to play some more of that one. That one's highly recommended, though, from what I've played.
I had not really known much about that game before the spotlight, and when I tuned in to watch it, it was actually I bought it. I went and bought the game like right away. There was a 25%. I think it was 25 or 20% discount.
Yeah, I think it's 25. I think it's 25%. Yeah.
Yeah. So grab it for under $10, and like you said, the gameplay looked very, very good. It's a very challenging puzzle platformer, but the soundtrack alone was just fantastic. I was like, I went out and bought that. It's available now on Bandcamp. I'm not sure if it's on iTunes yet, but it was on Bandcamp for under $9. There's a 30% discount going right now too. So
nice.
Make sure you look into that. But yeah, definitely a very cool game. I picked it up. Can't wait to play it. It's one of those games where I just want to fire it up on my 4K display, turn the lights off, and pop on the headphones and just kind of get sucked into that game with that music that just almost like it's trance, like it really gets you dialed in to the gameplay. And I thought that was really, really interesting. But yeah, another awesome game that's developed by one person, dude.
Yeah, we've played a lot of those on the Indie Spotlight this year, and they always seem to be good, man. I think there's just a certain level of passion that goes into a game when you're the only developer. Like this is your vision through and through. So from the coding to the soundtrack to whatever, and I don't know if they developed the soundtrack themselves. Do you know? Is it
there were multiple artists that were involved?
Okay, so
there's a bunch of composers that worked on it.
Yeah, but this is your vision of the game. So this is what you envision from the soundtrack. This is what you envision from the levels. And there's just a certain just way that you want the game to turn out. There's a certain polish you want it to have before it's released. And when you're like the overseer of everything, yeah, it just there's just something special about those games.
I agree with you 100%. So those are the games that we have been playing this week. We got two games we're going to talk about a little bit more extensively here. But first, let's talk about the big game from last week, Sea of Thieves, available now on Xbox One and on Windows 10 platforms. It's a cross-play title. It's a play-anywhere title. And we've all spent a good amount of time with it, playing through it, getting an idea of what it's all about. And I think it's fair to say, you guys, it's been a very polarizing title. It's sitting at about a 60 or so on Metacritic and OpenCritic, and it seems to be even more polarizing amongst gamers. I mean, you got a lot of people who really, really love the game. There's a lot of people who aren't really feeling the game. There's people that are kind of in between. And we want to kind of talk about Sea of Thieves, and we're just going to have a little discussion about this. So we want to hear your thoughts as well. As we're talking about it, sound off in the comments below. Share your thoughts. We want to read what you think of Sea of Thieves and where you think it's headed, or where it should be headed, the things you like, you don't like. We want to hear from you. But look, guys, let's talk about Sea of Thieves, okay? We've all played it quite a bit. I want to get your general impressions first, and then we'll kind of dive into the stuff that we consider the strengths, the weaknesses, and where we kind of want to see Rare going from here over the weeks and months ahead as they provide content through updates. But Bender, I want to start with you first. Your general impressions of Sea of Thieves so far.
Overall, I like the game. I think there's a lot of things about it that are really fun and enjoyable. I just don't know at this point. If I'm honest, I just don't know how long it's going to keep my attention. Because I mean, I like the mechanics. I like that you can explore these different islands and dig up treasure and all that stuff. There's different those different guilds you can work for and earn reputation and everything. But I can tell already that those tasks are going to start getting repetitive before long. So I don't know how long that's going to keep me going. Also, this game seems to have a lot of technical issues that I've noticed. I have not received any achievements from that game whatsoever yet.
And you won't. I guess that's something they put on hold right now. The developer has seized achievements from going out. Even though they will pop at a later date, Rare has said that is one of the things they have shut off right now to try to work out some kinks in the game. But your achievements will pop once they reactivate them. But Rare has indicated that achievements are turned off at this time.
Okay, I didn't realize that, but yeah, I thought that was really strange.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also disconnected from the game multiple times. Stuff like that. One time, the strangest time was when I was playing with you guys. I disconnected, but the way it happened, like kind of freaked me out because I had no idea what was going on. Like you guys were all three on this galleon, and I was at the wheel. And then suddenly we hit this wave, and you guys just saw, that we hit the wave and kept sailing. I saw we hit the wave, and the ship went underwater, and we were like sailing underwater, and I was like, "What is happening?" And you guys are like, "What? We just hit a wave." And I'm like, "Are you guys underwater right now?" And they're like, "You're like, no." And then I disconnected. And I was like, "Oh, okay." It was just so weird, though.
Yeah, that was funny because you're like, "What was that?" And I was like, "It was just a wave."
So I'm freaking out. Help! No, but that was weird. And but other than that, I mean, there are some fun things about it. Even though I don't like PvP that much, it is kind of fun sometimes to see another ship and have like a cannon fight, shooting back and forth, trying to take each other out, or you see a ship and you hit the sails and try to get away and all that stuff. Well, that's pretty fun. But I mean, overall, like I said, I like it. I just don't know how long I'm gonna keep playing.
Gotcha. Okay. That's fair. So those are Bender's general impressions. Boyce, let's go to you next. Your general impressions of Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I basically agree with Bender. It's been a fun game to play so far. The last session we had, in particular with JD and Lupe, those that was a fun session. We got to do some voyages. We got to experience a storm and do a few different things in the game. And for like that, like the initial kind of experience with the game is fun. You're learning how to sail. You're learning how the mechanics of the world work and all that kind of stuff. But like Bender said, it's just. At this point, I've played the game for a few hours, and I feel like I've pretty much seen everything that there is to see in Sea of Thieves. I understand that there's there's the forts or whatever that we haven't done, and I haven't seen the Kraken personally, but outside of that stuff, there's not too much of the game that I haven't seen or done at this point, and as far as what's available currently, there's not a whole lot more there. So, just initially, it's been fun to get in there and experience the game. But I do have concerns like Bender about the longevity of the game, about how long it's going to keep my attention, about how much I'm going to want to keep going back to it, especially with some of the games we got coming up on the horizon here. We have Far Cry that comes out on Tuesday. God of War is approaching shortly after that. I think there's quite a few independent titles planned for April as well. So Extinction is in there as well. So there's some cool looking titles on the horizon here, and I'm just not sure how much Sea of Thieves is going to stick. But the initial experience that you get out of the game is fun, and I would say that for like the $10 you spend on Game Pass at the very least, like it's worth a month to buy it and get in there and kind of get that initial experience with the game. And then I don't think it would be out of the question for you to either drop your subscription or move on to another game after that, and then maybe come back down the line and see what they've been able to add additionally to the game. Because there's, like I said, there's some fun to be had there initially.
Franklin, your turn, buddy. Your thoughts on Sea of Thieves?
I actually really, really like it. We hopped in to the Monday night, the midnight launch, and as you would expect with any, online game, of course, we weren't able to all party up. So I was immediately in the situation I feared the most of, playing by myself. But, you, Juan, myself, we're all in party chat talking, having a good time, talking about whatever it was we were doing. I got in there, and that was my first time using one of the sloops. So those are smaller, much more manageable for one person. And honestly, I thought it was really fun, really relaxing, just being out on the sea and trying to figure out how to, that you can angle sails to get in the wind so you can go faster, and just sailing around all these different islands. It was very, very, very relaxing. And it was, Mondays for me are very stressful from work. So coming home to that, I was sitting there like, yeah, I can get behind playing this a lot. So actually, Tuesday and I think Wednesday morning, I got up earlier than I normally do, and I immediately hopped on Sea of Thieves, and I partied up with a bunch of people I've never played with before. I've got all these friends on Xbox from Twitter, but I've never played games with them, so I hopped in with Fastback, Nate from NLG, and Doomhammer, my favorite Battleborn fan. So, but yeah, we got in, and it was hilarious. We set off on one of the merchant quests to get chickens or something. So we ran into a storm, so we were bailing out water from the storm. We ran into the Kraken, which, not gonna lie, I'm very disappointed overall in the Kraken. It's really intense when you happen upon it, but if the Kraken grabs you and you're underwater, there's no body for the Kraken. It's just black underwater. So it's just basically like all these tentacles that surround you, and it's trying to escape from that, I guess. So we ended up getting away from the Kraken and finally turned in these damn chickens. So that was a good hour and a half of just trying to get back and avoid us being sunk by anyone else or anything. So that was fun. And then I played with Juan, Bender, and Jamie the next night. Or no, it was just me, Bender, and Jamie. And that was when we started encountering other ships finally. So we sank one, which was really great. But we ran out of stuff. So when there were more ships around us, we're like, crap, we gotta go. So we just settled on some random island, and Bender, of course, finds a skull. And he's like, well, I want to turn this thing in. I'm like, all right, fine. So while this is happening, Jamie's at her ship. He's like, oh, hey, someone's coming. So they, of course, sink our ship, kill Jamie. So I'm like, Bender, go hide somewhere. So I swam around and I hopped on their ship to try and have them think Jamie and I were the only two there. So they killed me, and I think they took off. So we then spent the next hour trying to figure out which island we left Bender on, because nobody was paying attention. So
yeah,
that was...
we forgot the name of the island. We didn't check the sea chart. And so we were trying to remember where we were and where I was. And I'm on the island, so I can't check the sea chart. So I'm like looking in my spyglass, trying to give them landmarks of where to go. And I'm just hiding in a bush while holding this skull, okay. And I'm looking for other ships, making sure nobody else is coming to my island. I'm like, I'm scared.
Yeah. So when we were first heading back, there were a bunch of other ships, and I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna sail around so they don't see us, because no. And of course, on our way to the island we thought Bender might be on, we ran into another Kraken, which I don't know if the Krakens don't target sloops, but there was a sloop shooting at us and the damn Kraken also attacking us. Oh. So we ended up ditching that ship, got another ship. But before we went down that time, I did look at the map because Bender could see us. So we knew a general area of where he was. So I think Jamie actually ended up calling out which one it was, because I thought it was another one. It was ridiculous. That's why we started Monster Hunter late, because we were trying to find Bender. Which, of course, as fate would have it, we turned in the skull and none of us saw the rewards that we got. So Bender was the real treasure of that voyage, and I'm fine with that. So, yeah, I mean, that's the extent I've played of Sea of Thieves, though. And I, like I said, stuff like that is freaking hilarious. So I do really enjoy what that game does have to offer when you're playing it with friends. But again, I don't know longevity wise. I think I'm going to feel okay after 15-20 hours if I'm like, all right, I've had my fill of this. I feel okay having spent $60 on the game.
Yeah, I mean, you guys make a lot of good points, and man, this week has been really tough, because this is one of those games where, man, the potential for Sea of Thieves is through the roof. I mean, it really, really is. The potential for Sea of Thieves is through the roof. It's been so difficult for me to decide, like, where do I want to fall with this game in terms of my thoughts on it. On one side, I'd love it in the way that the presentation. I think this is a gorgeous looking game. This world it's beautiful. Sunset, sunrises. I absolutely love the storms. Okay, I love the storms. They're chaotic to pilot through, and especially if you got people chasing you. You got to manage the ship. The ship can take damage from the waves. The presentation factor, it's awesome. I really, really dig what it's doing there. And then, like you guys are talking about, these moments that happen in between, start a voyage and turn in the loot that you got. Everything that happens in between, running into other galleons. I have yet to encounter the Kraken. Frankie's talking about running into the Kraken twice in one session. That's awesome. But
That's two different sessions.
But but mostly when I'm playing by myself, I'm on a sloop. So maybe that is. Maybe the Kraken does not target sloops for whatever reason. But there is a lot to like in between these voyages. But I do hope. My biggest concern is will these voyages become more elaborate over time? I mean, I'm now level 10. I think I'm level 12 or 13 in one alliance, the Gold Hoarders Alliance. I just hit 10 on the Order of Souls, and I think I'm at 5 on the Merchants. And I mean, these missions are still the same. Like, go to this island, dig up this treasure, bring it back. That stuff, the voyages, I think definitely need to be improved. But we'll talk about that stuff when we get to the strengths and weaknesses. But I want to like this game a whole lot. I want to just say, yes, go out and drop $60 on it. But like Ben says, it's a lot easier to recommend this game through the Game Pass. Pay $10, see if you like it, see if it has enough to grab you to carry on to the next month and to keep your subscription alive. But let's talk about the strengths of the game. Let's talk about the presentation. I mean, what's your guys' thoughts on the presentation, the world that you're exploring? I mean, do you guys think this is that Rare has at least nailed that, the pirate setting? Boys, I want to get your thoughts on what you think of the presentation of the game.
Yeah, the presentation's great. The soundtrack's awesome. The world's beautiful. Sailing on the waves. The whole, getting your crew together and trying to figure out how to work the ship and the sails and all that kind of stuff is cool. It's the skeletons and the sloops and the weird mysterious vendors and all that kind of stuff. Like it's all got a great like piratey vibe. Mm-hmm. So I definitely think that they nailed the presentation of it. It's like you said, it's a beautiful game, and I haven't seen it on the PC, but I know you've talked about it on the PC that it looks even better on there. So yeah, I'm happy with the presentation of the game.
How about you, Benner?
Yeah, I agree. I like the art style. I mean, I like the way the characters look and everything. I think the world looks beautiful. The water effects are awesome. That's one of the best things. Like you said, mentioned the sunrises, sunsets, all that stuff. When it's raining, it's really cool. Mm-hmm. And just the whole overall feel of the game. I mean, one of my favorite moments in Sea of Thieves is when you're sailing to your next island and nobody has anything to do, so you pull out your instruments and just start playing music together. That's a lot of fun. Just like singing a pirate shanty. It's always good times. But yeah, overall, I think the presentation is spot on for this game.
Yeah, and Ben, you're right, dude. Playing it on PC, getting that unlocked frame rate, that 60 frames, seeing especially the ocean itself, like the waves and everything during a storm, it's just beautiful. And you guys talk about the attention to detail, the little things, like when you're in a storm and you see the water on the ship, on the actual floor of the ship. The way it just kind of goes back and forth as you're moving on, just the little details. It's just a very beautiful looking game. I've taken countless screenshots of sunsets and all sorts of different vistas. So, I mean, the presentation, it's a very beautiful game. I love the music, and you guys know like the animations, all that stuff is cool. Frankie, your thoughts on the overall presentation of Sea of Thieves?
I like it. I think, like you guys talked about, being out on the water is awesome. You start bouncing around in the waves, or if it's raining, you kind of see like the shimmer on the deck, of all the water building up. So that's really cool. I like the fact that you can go get drunk and throw buckets of vomit on each other. This is so dumb. But yeah, I love it. And there's also just that feeling when you're out, doing one of the Gold Hoarder missions. You got a map. You're running around the island trying to match up the X. And the second you hear that chunk when you're digging, it's so satisfying. And Yeah, I also really enjoy the riddles. Because one of the times I forget who I was playing with. This might have been Jamie and Juan, but we found one of the messages in a bottle, so it was one of those riddles, and that was the first one of those I got to do. Those are really cool. So they kind of just give you a basic destination, and as you get there, it fills in the next part of it.
Yep.
So it's just kind of giving you these not super vague, but kind of vague, descriptions of things to look for. So that stuff is really cool and very, that's the stuff I really enjoy about that game. It's very satisfying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the game definitely has its strengths. Another thing, you guys mentioned, I love being in a group of 4 people and everyone's just kind of doing their job on the ship. I mean, boys, when we first started playing that first night, I mean, you kind of took the helm and you were calling out stuff. You were looking for pirates. You kind of got on the sails. You were moving stuff around. Everyone just kind of naturally falls into a role that they like to do, and they try to get good at it. And I really enjoy seeing a full crew working together to guide this ship, making sure the sails are always in place to catch the wind. It's just there's a lot to do in terms of the cooperative elements. I really feel that's one of the strengths of the game. Now, we talked about these strengths. I want to talk about your guys' concerns. We talked about the mission varieties. Out of the 3 groups, you've got the Gold Hoarders, which is basically you go dig up treasure. You've got the Order of Souls that has you take on groups of enemies to kind of unleash the boss. And then you've got these merchant ones where you have to go collect random items. Sometimes it's 2 different types of chickens or 2 different types of pigs. Which voyages do you guys prefer, boys?
I don't know. The skeleton ones are cool because you actually get to do combat stuff. Even though the combat is extremely basic, but I don't know. I guess probably the best ones would be the searching for the treasure stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You like Frankie was talking about. You get the axe. You gotta walk around them a map, try to match it up, and when you're doing those, you get usually there's a few skeletons roaming around the island too, so you still get that kind of combat experience with that as well. So yes, I would think just I don't know, just from the very basic puzzle elements that particular voyage offers. From what I've played so far, in terms of the basic voyages, that's probably my favorite.
Mm-hmm. And your concerns, obviously, with the voyages, are they ever going to become more elaborate? I mean, what are you kind of hoping to see from these voyages? I mean, what are some changes you'd like to see Rare make or add to these voyages?
I mean, there's like you said, there's the potential for so much that they can do with this, and to see it just limited to these 3 basic voyages right now is disappointing. We want to see things and maybe this stuff opens up later in the game. I have no idea on how the end game content works, but we talked about prior to the game's release, something like this big Goonies style raid, or where you're going through all these different clues and investigating these caves and going through this crazy level, and eventually coming to this cool boss at the end that you gotta fight, this old pirate ghost or something that you gotta fight and get his treasure and bring it back and level up and that kind of stuff. So I would just like to see something like that. Just I don't know what I would want to see. I just want to see more variety in the mission. So whatever they can come up with, whatever other stuff that we can do, maybe some stuff related to the ship where you're doing stuff out on the sea. They could even do something stupid like fishing or something. They could throw something like that in there. But there's so much you can do with pirates and with the sea and all that kind of stuff. And I think about some of the stuff that we did in Uncharted 4, for instance, which is based around a pirate story. But some of those elaborate caves and the monuments that you're going through, and there's these different puzzle elements where you're trying to figure out how to open the room or how to get into this particular treasure or figure out where this clue is leading you. But that's a big part of pirate stuff. So to have something like that in the game, some more substantial puzzles, I think would be ideal. So if they can come up with something where you gotta make your way through a trap room and get to a forgotten treasure from Blackbeard or whatever, something cool like that. There's just a lot of stuff that they can do, and I don't have all the answers for what I would want to see from it, but I just want to see more than what's there, and I just want to see what else they can come up with.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about exploring these different islands and not being a lot there, have you guys been to any of these islands where there's these cool cave systems, then you go in there and there's just nothing there? Have you guys seen any of these yet? I did one tonight where we hopped went onto an island. and I was like, oh man, there's this ladder that leads down to this cave, and you go down this cave and there's nothing down there. Those are the types of things where I feel like these are missed opportunities on these different islands, because you go to these islands, and with the exception of a couple of skeletons, there's not a whole lot to do on these islands. Yes, there's usually a chest hidden here and there, but with so many islands on this map, I feel like that's a missed opportunity at this time. This could be stuff they could add later. There are some big islands on there, and there are some caves in these islands, but there's literally nothing in these caves. No other pirates. Sometimes there's skeletons, but I just want to be able to explore. I mean, you got such a big map. The fact that some of these islands are very, very bare is something I consider kind of disappointing.
It would be really cool if they added like emergent elements to this game. So, like it would be cool if you logged into Sea of Thieves one day and like somebody's talking about this skeleton washed up on the shore and he had this inscription in his bones or something like that, and they build like this kind of emergent story in the background that people start to talk about as a community. You know, something like they used to do with like the first Destiny with like the sleeper simulant, for instance. How there was like this big like it was almost like an urban legend about this gun before it finally became an actual quest that somebody figured out what to do and how to go and look for it. If they do stuff like that would be awesome for this kind of game, for this type of world that they've created. If they could just make some like clever stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing I want to talk about that I know that we've all got opinions on, I want to start with Frankie on this first, is obviously this progression system that we have here in Sea of Thieves. When we first fired it up, I'm walking around, I'm going to these different vendors, and we're like, okay, what can we buy from these folks? And you see some of these items are just extraordinarily expensive. I mean, there's a lot on there. Some items that are like 70,000 gold. I'm like, okay, that's all right. Let me see what this thing does. And we come to discover right away that all of this stuff is cosmetic. All this stuff that you're grinding for and trying to rank up for is strictly cosmetic. And I feel like for a game like this, where you're going to be out there trying to grind out these same quests over and over again, I don't know if cosmetic items is going to be enough to keep people going. I mean, sure, yeah, the first week or two, you're getting the hang, you're jumping into the game, you're having fun with your friends. But over time, Frankie, do you think the progression system is going to become kind of disappointing the more and more you play?
Yes, no. I'm kind of torn on it because I understand, you have all these players out there. I guess it makes sense in the sense that you don't want people to be overpowered, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if, you and Ben become Pirate Legend and, Bender and I just started playing the game and we happen to run into you guys, Bender and I are going to immediately hate the game because you're just going to laugh and sink us in one shot probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I understand from that aspect, but like you said, after so long, like why am I going to want to buy another pistol just because it's a different skin? Like that doesn't do more damage. There's no real reason for me to do it. So why should I buy it?
Mm-hmm.
So I was telling Ben the other night, I don't know anything about game development, but to me that just kind of seemed like the easy way out of, kind of figuring out what to do about player progression was just make everybody even.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they probably should look into, and I know Bender can talk about this because he knows more about it, but there's probably other ways they could go about segregating the player base or something to kind of alleviate that problem rather than just making it so that everything is just a base damage and there's no real advantage or real motivation, honestly, to upgrade weapons. If what's the point? You're not going to get a better scope, you're not going to do more damage, you're not going to have more ammo or anything, so why spend the money upgrading?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bender, you're no stranger to the grind fest. You know what it's like to work hard to get something that you really want that's going to give you an advantage, that's going to be powerful gear or a powerful weapon. What's your take on the progression system in Sea of Thieves, and do you think there's enough there to kind of keep you wanting to grind away?
It would keep me wanting to play to a certain point because there are some kind of cool like things for your character and like cool eye patches and stuff like that. I would want to make my character look cool. But when it comes to like having a golden tankard for my grog, I'm like, don't really care about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's not going to be enough to really keep me playing for too long, I don't think. So I don't know. I'm not really sure if it's gonna be enough for me personally.
You know, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, man, I would really wish there was more of a progression system here, a reason for me to grind to get that better gear. But then I stopped and I was thinking about it. I was like, you know, this is almost like if I'm asking for better stuff, that more powerful gear, more powerful ammo, and the way that Sea of Thieves is designed, where it's just this live environment and anyone can join, I can't help but wonder if it would, you know, as much as I would love to have that progression system where I get that awesome gear, I'm worried about this becoming kind of like a dark zone in the Division, where you run into a group of 4 people who have the highest level gear, and you just worked your ass off, to collect all this loot, only to run into a group of people that just annihilate you right away. You have no defense, you have no chance against them, and that's kind of like where the plus side is, I guess, of having this bait. Everyone's on level playing field, nobody's souped up and stuff, because that was one of the most frustrating things about the Dark Zone. You go in there and you get housed. They didn't have things segregated very well, and I do think that's something they could possibly look at for Sea of Thieves. Once you get to a certain level of piracy and you have a certain level of gear, you kind of match those people all together. But I don't know how difficult that is to do. Obviously, it's very difficult. Took Ubisoft quite a while to get the Dark Zone to where it needed to be, and even then, it's still, once you go into the Dark Zone, and much like Sea of Thieves, once you go out there, you got to do what you can to survive. And I can't help but wonder if maybe that's one reason why they kind of didn't go with the progression system, boys, is so they wouldn't have a Dark Zone type of situation where people are getting griefed out there and they're getting pissed off because they're constantly getting wiped out. What do you think about that, boys?
Yeah, no, you and Frankie make good points about that in terms of it possibly unbalancing the game or whatnot. And I'm trying to think about how to describe this, but in my mind right now, Sea of Thieves is almost better viewed as a social platform rather than a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like the actual gameplay in Sea of Thieves is very minimal. Like I said, the combat is extremely basic. You go up to a skeleton, you either flail your sword to kill them or you shoot your gun at them, and there's like 3 basic guns you can pick from, and that's it. So there's not like this great like engrossing combat system to be involved with. Sailing is fun. It's fun to get on there with your group and manage the seas and whatnot. Sometimes your destination is so far away, you're literally just sitting on the ship for 10-15 minutes as you're trying to navigate to your next destination. So you're just sitting there like talking with your friends. So it's in like we've talked about, the items are cosmetic. There's only these 3 types of voyages that you go on. So like all the systems around Sea of Thieves are all very, very basic. And right now, like the meat of the game, or what people are enjoying about it, is the stuff that Frankie talked about earlier. It's leaving Bender on the island and spending an hour trying to find him later on. It's those kind of just stories and adventures that you come across, and that's kind of been the way this game's been positioned all along from the get-go. It's been this choose your own adventure game where you get out there, there's no real story to go on, you just get out there with your friends and you make your own adventure. And that's cool to a certain point, but for myself, like there's got to be more to it than this. Mm-hmm. Like I can sit on a Skype call with you guys. We do it every week, and we talk about games, and we get on Destiny and we play that together. And there's a lot more actual gameplay in a game like that to go along with the cooperative activities and talking with your friends and doing that kind of stuff. So I get that Sea of Thieves is a more like chill experience, but at the end of the day, there's just going to come a point where you've seen everything there is to see in that game, and you're going to want to just talk to your friends in other ways rather than just getting on that boat and doing the same fetch quest over and over and over and over. So so hopefully that makes sense. Like in my mind right now, it's even less of a game, and like more so as just something like a get together for you and your friends, and maybe even more so than the limited voyages is this progression system, and the fact that there's really nothing there to guide to like push you along. I typically don't get into cosmetic stuffs for games. That's never really been a drive to me, because it doesn't change the gameplay. It doesn't change the game in any significant way. I'll try to get some stuff in Destiny, but it's for a gun or for some gear I have that does something meaningful for my character. So I might try and get an ornament or something for that, like that kind of stuff I'll get into sometimes. But to just like grind these repetitive fetch quests over and over and over just to get a new skin for your flintlock, or a new jacket or whatever, that's not motivating to me, and it just leads me back to the question I had at before this game even released, and that's like, what's the point? Do you become a pirate legend? Okay, well, what does that get you? Get you a black sail on your ship? It's like, okay, that's cool, I guess, but like, how does it affect the way that you're gonna play this game? Like, what does it actually do for you? So like I said, maybe there's something coming down the pipe, or maybe there's some end game content that I'm just ignorant of at this point. But from what I've read and from what I understand from people, it doesn't sound like it right now. So yeah, so for me, just the progression is a big issue. There's just not enough there personally to motivate me to do anything long term in the game.
Mm-hmm. And we're talking about this, and we got these different perspectives, and and that's the hardest thing about it for me is like I really like some of the elements of this game, but it's and there's nothing wrong with wanting to have like a carrot on the end of the stick. I mean, yeah, I understand the point of the game is to create your own stories, create these adventures, in between these quests, but I feel like there's so much more room with what Rare has created here. This world they've created, all these places you can explore. I mean, this map is huge. Dude, the other night when we first started playing, I went and sailed in the wrong direction for 20 minutes and didn't realize until I looked at the map I picked the wrong island. And I was like, man, there's a lot to explore here. But like I said, when you go to these islands, that'd be cool if there were other like mysterious characters, like the dude that's sitting in the tavern, mysterious guy or whatever his name is. That'd be cool if there were other guys on islands going, hey, I got a mission for you. You're going to want to take this. It'll find you some awesome booty, and you'll be all set. Like, oh, that'd be cool to have stuff like that. I just feel like with as big as this world is, there's not enough going on outside of the outposts. Obviously, the outposts got everything there, but I dig what they're going for with create the own stories, but I think Rare has created such a world and so much potential here. They need more. And people want more. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Everyone's playing this game. I want more to do. And I guess that's a good thing for Rare to have. I mean, that gives them some incentive. Hey, look, we built something here that people really want to spend more time here. We need to give them a reason to. And yes, for some people, that's all it's going to take, man. Have these crazy adventures where Frankie's telling this story about Benner getting lost, or this story about something else happening. Those things are cool, and for some people, that's all they need. But I think with games like Destiny and The Division, and you had this live element with Sea of Thieves, people want more. They want more to do, and that's where that's what Rare needs to look at right now. Is they need to figure out right away what the hell can we add to this game, because people are craving it. Obviously, people are spending a lot of time playing it. You look at Twitch, a lot of people are playing this game, but over the course of time, this is going to get stale and repetitive. I mean, in my opinion, I can't see myself playing this game for 40, 50 hours in its current state. Now, if Rare comes out and says, hey, look, you get to Pirate Legend, you're going to unlock all this stuff, new areas to explore. Frankie, did you want to add something?
I was going to say, I know you guys haven't had many other ship encounters, but every single ship I've ever encountered is hostile, even if you have the cannons up and everything. And like, the more I think about it, I think it is because people are probably getting bored while they're out sailing around.
Yeah,
they see another ship, like, finally we could do something, and then they're gonna go and shoot you down. So I think that having more things for people to focus their time on, and I know that's a common complaint a lot of the people who don't like the game have, is I'm out sailing by myself and I have a galleon rolling up and sinking me and taking the one chest I found. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff's frustrating. And I think, finding a way to kind of give players more things to do would, alleviate that problem. You're going to see a sloop, but you're going to be like, no, the stuff that we're heading to go get right now isn't worth, going off course for. So I think that's a thing.
Yeah, and that's one thing too. You hear people always saying there's not enough ships. I don't want a lot of ships in my server. I don't want to have 4 galleons over here, 4 galleons over here, and a couple of sloops. That's way too chaotic. That's going to be just, like you said, it's just going to be a bunch of guys shooting their cannons at each other, and you're kind of missing the point of like getting this going on these voyages. And like you said, if they add more stuff to do, I'm not going to want to go over and fight you guys because I might have something valuable on my ship. I don't want to engage in that. But like you said, if you don't have anything valuable on your ship and you're looking for something to do, hey, blowing the sloop out of the water sounds like a really good idea. Yeah. I mean, I can totally get that.
Another part of this too, Brent, is we've been hearing about this game for a long time now. And I don't know how long Sea of Thieves has been in development, but it's got to be like 4 or 5 years at the very least. So we've been hearing about this game for a long time. Rare's been talking about it and developing it. It's been at multiple shows for Microsoft, and there was a lot of confusion about what the game was up until it finally came out. And then now that it's here, it just seems like after all this time, it's just slightly disappointing that there's not more there for you to do. You would think that at this point, with all the development resources and all the time that's been put into it, that there'd just be this massive world for you to explore and get into. But at the end of the day, it's just kind of empty.
Yeah, and that's another excellent point. I mean, development for 5 years, and we got 3 different quest types, a big, beautiful world with not a whole lot going on unless there's other ships around. It's very strange. Like, how can this be it? How can there? And again, I don't know what Pirate Legend unlocks. I mean, that's one of the things. I read these reviews, and some of these reviews, and I'm not saying they're wrong or right. I'm just saying I think it's interesting how some of these reviews, like, I got to level 10, 10, and 10 across the board, and I believe Pirate Legend isn't until what, 25 or 50, Frankie? I mean, do we even know what level Pirate Legend is?
Isn't it 50?
I thought it's 50. Yeah.
If it's 50, I haven't read one reviewer talking about what happens when they get to level 50.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know what happens when. I mean, wouldn't it be hilarious if like people start getting to level 50 and just boatloads of endgame stuff shows up? I mean, you get a raid shows up and you got all this stuff. I mean, that'd be a little strange because that'd be a hell of a grind to get there. But it's just.
I was going to say the reason I don't think that's the case is Rare would have said something about it at this point.
Right.
They see the feedback. They see people talking about the game. They would have come out and be like, look, guys, once you get the Pirate Legend, like, this thing really opens up and all this stuff becomes available. There hasn't been none of that. So I'd be very shocked if the game changes significantly once you get to that point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you guys, going forward, I mean, obviously Rare's going to be working on this. I can't say Rare's going to go out and just kick out a ton of content and they're going to deliver all the goods. I have no idea what Rare's roadmap is for this game. Frankie, what are a couple of things that you definitely want to see them add to this game that would make it, I mean, obviously it's appealing to you. It's appealing to me, but what are some things you would like to see them add that would make it even more appealing?
There's a couple definite quality of life things I want. Obviously when you go to start a game right now, if all of us are planning to play, I get home later. So if you guys are ready to go at 10 o'clock, I get home at 11:30 and you guys want to start, at 10, you have to start either with a full sloop, or not a full sloop, a galleon, and it'll put a random person in the 4th slot. So either you have that option, or you guys can do, a small crew galleon and just have the 3 of you. Mm-hmm. So either way, when I finally get home and am able to play with you guys, either you have to find a way to have that 4th guy quit, probably by locking him in the brig until he leaves. So there's that. Or if you guys, were doing the smaller crew galleon, you have to quit the game to start a new one to invite me. Yeah. I don't understand why we don't have an invite system that's friendly to, waiting on other people, or, if someone else came on and like, hey, you want to play? Like, it doesn't seem like it's equipped to, kind of let you bring in people as you're going. Mm-hmm. But on top of that
100% what Frankie's saying.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me, man. We have a game like Sea of Thieves and Monster Hunter earlier this year with these just really weird, like, party and like systems for your cooperative. Like, your game's built around co-op and you can't even join another person's game. It's so weird that this is a thing. When you have games like Destiny who have figured this out, they figured out a very easy way for you to get into another person's game and join them and drop out or come back in. Like, people have already figured this stuff out. So I don't understand why we get these obtuse co-op systems in some of these games now. It boggles my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, even on top of that, the other thing is, if all 4 of us are playing, do we really want to be in a galleon? Why can't we have 2 sloops? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because if we are out and finding all this treasure, you're slower in a galleon and people are more likely to attack a galleon, because you're a galleon. You probably have stuff on your ship. So
right.
I feel like at least if we were to be able to take out, 2 sloops, we could, at least divide the treasure up. So if, for some reason one of us did end up getting sank, or, we still would be able to cash in, the stuff on the other ship, assuming we got away. So I think it's a lot harder to try and shoot down 2 sloops than, a single galleon. So, but outside of that, I feel like the different factions should have some kind of purpose outside of just being, here's this thing, go have fun. There's,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like there's no, I don't want to say storyline, but there's no, like, who are these people? Like Ben was saying, like they're very interesting looking characters, but why are they there? Like what is it that they're trying to get out of you going out and doing all this stuff for them?
Mm-hmm.
So I think adding some kind of just context. I don't even need a story at this point, quite honestly. And that was something I was, worried about coming in was, oh, this is a rare game without a story. But I think honestly, for the type of game that they're trying to make, a story doesn't totally make sense. Just because if you're out doing the story mission and you end up fighting off galleons, it's going to get frustrating trying to get through that. But I don't know. I feel like I need just some kind of carrot at the end of the stick that means something,
Mm-hmm.
you like your Galar horns, like there's something. Just give me some reason to continue to level up with these factions. And I think they should get rid of the merchant because that one sucks. I hate doing merchant quests.
Go and collect 2 chickens. Like,
yeah,
all right.
I don't want to. I really don't want to. So yeah, or add more merchants, but just find some way to add some kind of variety to the game. That's all I want. I just want more things to do than, what I'm doing. And on top of that, with that same note, like if I decide I just want to go out sailing, I want a reason to stop at an island. You know what I mean? Like you say, you encounter all these islands, you have these caves, but they're empty. Fill some of this stuff in. And maybe that's part of the plan. I honestly have no idea. I hope it is. But I think they should have stuff for you to do if you don't want to go out on a voyage and just want to go exploring. Like there should be motivation to go explore,
Mm-hmm. Bender, how about you, man? What are you hoping Rare can add to this game to make it something where you're like, okay, look, I got to get home and get on Sea of Thieves tonight. I got to hop in there right away. I got something I got to earn. What is it you're hoping Rare adds here?
There definitely is some quality of life stuff that they need to work on. First of all, like for example, like I was noticing when we were playing, like once you pick up a quest, there's no way to get rid of it. You just have to either do it or fail.
No, there is a way to do it. You go up, you post the quest on the table, everyone votes on it, it starts, and then when you cancel it, you can go up and cancel it, it wipes it out. But I mean, that's obviously a little, it doesn't have to be that complex. You should be able to just go to your voyage list and say, here, look, I want to dismantle this or whatever it is.
Yeah, or just tear it up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing, but like you guys were talking about earlier, I do agree that they need to have some sort of. I would love for them to be like, for there to be like some big caves to explore, like some labyrinthine tunnels to go through, and then maybe there's a big pirate boss at the end or something, and a big loot core to grab a couple of chests and take them back and cash them in. And I think that would be a lot of fun. To have stuff like that you can stumble upon or have some sort of special quests. I think it would also be cool if they had special events from time to time, like, something like the Kraken or maybe some other monster that everyone can fight, or
ghost ships.
Yes,
ghost ships
ghost
would
ship,
be cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Stuff like that. And one more thing is, like, not everyone may agree with me, but I think they should make PvP optional.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that Frankie was alluding to earlier that he said I would know more about is one thing I was talking about while we were playing the other day is I think they should have a system like they have in World of Warcraft, where if you want to engage in PvP, you can, but once you attack another player, there's a little flag that appears next to your name. Mm-hmm. Once you're flagged, anyone can attack you, and you attack other people. That's a way that you can you can still explore the world, but if you're not a PvP person, you can just do your quests and be fine, and then other people can't attack you if you're not flagged. I don't know how they could work that on this particular game, because I mean you still got shooting at ships and stuff, even if you're not personally being attacked. Mm-hmm. So that may not be feasible, but I just wish they had some sort of option, or maybe even optional PvE only servers or something. Mm-hmm. Because if they had more stuff to do, more stuff to keep me busy, then I would be perfectly happy playing Sea of Thieves and never encountering another player. Mm-hmm. And just do the things that they have for me to do. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that may be something that they can do down the line, or maybe they won't, but That's what I would enjoy.
Yeah, like if they added, like, if you wanted to go PvE only, like if they had other ships, skeleton ships with skeletons on it, and they're attacking you can engage in the combat. I'm sure they could have the AI, driving their ship. You'd have to watch out for skeletons jumping out of their ship, trying to swim up to your boat. I mean, all that kind of stuff. They could add to that to give you that experience of PvE or PvP, but in a PvE setting. So, no, I think that would be something they could explore as well. But, Boyce, how about you, man? What are you hoping that Rare can bring to this game?
I mean, the guys made some good points, with all the stuff that they said, and I would like to see all that stuff as well. We talked about obviously, more quest variety, some type of a better carrot at the end of a stick, some of a better progression system to kind of keep us engaged for the long run. So, that's kind of all the stuff I would like to see, and at the end of the day, man, this is a video game, and right now, Sea of Thieves just doesn't have enough gameplay for me. So I don't know, what they can do in terms of that or how much that would change the design, but I just need more stuff to do. More stuff to do in Sea of Thieves, more actual gameplay. So, maybe I don't know, if they can make the combat more than what it is, or, I don't know, man. I just need more stuff to do in the game right now. And, like I said, the stuff that's in there is fun to do when you get in there with your friends. But, for the long haul, there's got to be more actual like gameplay elements in the game for me to sink my teeth into, for it to really be something that's going to engage me for hours and hours and hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm with you. I mean, Bender and Frankie have touched on a lot of good stuff. You have as well. Obviously for myself, I would like to just know what the end game content is. Are we going to get some sort of raid? I do know that those skeleton heads or those skulls that appear in the sky, those indicate like a skeleton island where you can go there, and it's almost kind of like a public event in a way. It's very difficult to beat by yourself. It's almost impossible. But if you go in with a crew, if you defeat all the skeletons there and you take out the entire thing, it'll actually open a cave or like kind of like a reward zone in that island where you can go in and grab a bunch of skulls and loot chests. So you kind of have almost like kind of like a strike mission, if you will, where it's just really quick and brief, and you clean out the area and you get your reward. But I do want to see something big at the end, man, where you and 4 people, like you said, a Goonies type of adventure, exploring a cave system or something where there's a huge payout waiting for you at the end. That's basically all I want, man. And more voyage of variety, and I want to see some more stuff in the world itself on these islands. Something, whether it's NPCs or hidden paths or puzzles you got to solve. I mean, there's just too many islands that are just with pigs and chickens and some random skeletons. There needs to be more on these islands, in my opinion. So, any final thoughts on Sea of Thieves?
Nope, just kind of looking forward to playing more, seeing, slowly building up to a pirate legend. That would be cool. I just want to see that Batman entrance for my ship. So,
yeah, I mean, like I said, we all appreciate what Rare's trying to do here. I think we all see the potential that this game holds. I don't even know if Rare knew what kind of potential they had, because obviously if they knew just how good this game could be, I got to believe this game would have launched with more content. It just seems like it's a little too shallow, but I mean, it speaks volumes when people are like, dude, I want more to do in this world because you've created a fantastic world. So let's hope that over the next couple of weeks and months ahead, Rare will continue to kick out content. The world become more. There'll be more activity. There'll be more stuff to do. And if that's the case, if that's where we're headed here with this, Sea of Thieves could be very much like Destiny 1. 6 months from now, it might be a completely different game in terms of like what there is to do, how busy the world is, and all that jazz. So really looking forward to see what Rare can do with Sea of Thieves. It's a little shallow right now, but it definitely has the potential to be something very, very cool. So we go from Sea of Thieves. Boys, we're going to talk about A Way Out briefly. We're not going to ruin too much for Bender and Frankie. We won't talk about what we've played so far, but I do want to talk about just the co-op elements and what your thoughts are so far of A Way Out. We streamed it the other night on our YouTube, our Twitch channel, and our Mixer channels. You can go over there and check the video out. It's like the first hour and a half of the game. And but initial impressions of A Way Out, boys.
I really like A Way Out, man. It's really, really cool. all the stuff that was talked about prior to the release of the game, this being a new type of co-op experience, like all that stuff holds true in this game. It's extremely cinematic, from the score to the way the game's presented to the way the kind of story plays out. I really like that you really feel like you're in a movie, with these characters and going through the paces, and it's just really neat how you control each one of these characters and you're each going through your own story,
Mm-hmm.
and the screen is dynamically moving and changing and shrinking and changing sizes based on what's happening in the story. So sometimes this character's in an important moment, sometimes this character's having an important moment. There's something going on over here, so we're going to focus in on that, and then we're going to expand it, and you guys are on the same screen and then you're on different screens. It's just like the whole game's put together is just really cool. And when you start to get into the meat of the game and you guys are working together to try to figure out how to progress in the story, or how to finish whatever mission it is that you're trying to do, like all that stuff's really really neat. There's branching dialogue choices that are cool, so you get kind of different aspects of the story based on what you say. But I just yeah, it's definitely a unique cooperative experience. Really really like it so far, man. I can't wait to play some more of that one. So I know we're gonna try to get our entire playthrough up on our channels here. So at some point you'll be able to see our entire playthrough of A Way Out. It's not too lengthy of a game. I think we're looking at 5 or 6 hours probably when all is said and done. So a few
Mm-hmm.
more sessions, we should be able to wrap it up. But I'm really really looking forward to seeing where things go from here. I love what we got to play last night.
Yeah, for over the last couple of years, co-op to me has always meant like something like Borderlands. Just drop in and just shoot 'em up. Destiny, Left 4 Dead, these types of co-op games. You're all kind of on the screen doing the same thing at the same time. Whereas I've always wanted like a co-op game where like, hey, I am in a completely different area doing something else to you, and yet when we complete our objectives, we're going to come together, and it's going to make everything's going to play out like it's supposed to.
Mhm.
And that's what not Sea of Thieves, that's what A Way Out does. It just delivers a completely unique co-op experience in a way where what you're doing is integral to what your partner is doing and moving the plot forward. It's just a very unique experience, and I can't really put it into words. I'm really hoping that once we play through it, we can all sit down together, because I know Bender and Frankie, you guys are going to play through this together as well. It'll be interesting to get your thoughts. Hopefully, maybe after the next podcast, you guys will have been able to play through it, maybe even beat the game, and we can talk about A Way Out a little bit more extensively. But I just love how this is almost like more of a co-op game than any other co-op game I've ever played. It's just that important how well you guys work together and communicating and doing one thing while the other guy's doing another. It's really hard to put into words other than it's just an incredibly unique experience.
Yeah, you got to kind of get in there and play it. And I like too how as you guys are going through your different stories or your different perspectives on what's happening in this world, that you can kind of take things at your own pace. So
Mm-hmm.
whereas this guy might be talking to this guy or progressing this part of the story, like I could just be standing looking at the birds or something, I could just take my time and kind of do things the way I want to do them, and then eventually you guys come together and then you're working as a unit and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's really cool how they divide things up and they give you guys different things to do.
Right, exactly. So head over to the website or head over to YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, whatever one you like checking out our content. We have our video up of A Way Out, the first hour and a half. Obviously, if you don't want spoilers, don't watch the whole thing. Just watch it early on, get an idea of how the gameplay works. You get to meet Vincent and Leo, two characters that are actually pretty interesting. And that's the other thing. The story is actually really intriguing early on. Like I'm really interested to see what Leo's relation is to Harvey and why Harvey wants to come after Leo and whatnot. You're going to learn a lot early on, but it's a very cool game. So make sure you head over to our YouTube channels, check it out, leave your comments, let us know your thoughts on A Way Out. All right, let's talk about our spotlight titles this week. Frankie, what are the big spotlight titles to look for this week?
All right, guys, I just made a quick little list of 3 games here. So we're I know we have them in a different order, but I'm going to go backwards on these. So first up, Batman the Enemy Within, Episode 5, Same Stitch, will be out on Tuesday. This is the final episode for Batman the Enemy Within. Now, I haven't played any of this season yet. I try to wait until the last episode's coming out, but I obviously haven't had time. But this one, I don't know if you guys have watched the trailers or anything, but this is the episode where the Joker is born. in the Batman Telltale universe. So it looks like you actually are going to be able to play a role in deciding how the Joker is. He's either going to be the lunatic Joker we're all used to, or he's going to be a vigilante with you, it looks like. So, Bender, I know you and I played through the first season of Batman. I'm guessing you also jumped on this when it was on sale. Is this something you're going to finally jump into this week?
Yes, this is the moment I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for all the episodes to be out so I can. I was actually going to jump into this like last month or something, but I realized that they weren't all out yet, and I was like, oh, never mind. Mm-hmm. So now that episodes five is out, I'm finally going to jump in and play this Batman Season 2. I've been looking forward to it. Really love Season 1, so can't wait to check this out and play through all 5 episodes.
Yeah, it sounds really wild. So I'm really curious to see how the season ends up, playing out and getting to this point. Ben, you're a big Batman fan. I know you haven't tackled Season 1 or anything, but is this on your radar at all?
Yeah, dude, I'm ashamed that I haven't played Season 1 or any of Season 2 yet. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. Thank you for backing up my shame.
Cheers.
Yeah, there you go.
Cheers to you guys. Yeah, no, like I said, I'm ashamed I haven't got to these games yet. Obviously, I'm a big comic book fan. I love Batman. I really, really want to play these games because I've heard nothing but great things, not only from you guys, but from other people around the gaming world as well. So I need to sit down, play through the first season, and then get into Season 2 here, which I've heard some good things about it as well. Strange to hear that the Joker could possibly be a vigilante. I don't quite know how that's going to work, but I'm very curious to see how that all comes about. But yes, this is very, very much on my radar, and I need to figure out a way to play these games this year.
Yeah, you definitely do. They're doing some interesting things with the Batman universe, so it's been really cool seeing their take on this stuff. Brent, you're a superhero fan. This on your radar?
I have yet to finish Season 1, so eventually I would like to get to this, but I have. Hey, I'm not a self-proclaimed diehard Batman fan. I love Batman, but no, I have not played through Season 1 yet, so I can't even say I'm interested in Season 2.
Yeah, but you are like a professionally seasoned trophy hunter now, so.
Well, yeah, obviously.
So obviously, Season 1 of Batman should have been done a long time ago.
Well, no, technically, I like platinums that I can get in 30 minutes, and I can't quite get that in Batman, so not just yet.
You can do 30 minutes at a time and eventually get there.
Thanks.
All right, yeah, so look forward to episode 5 of Batman the Enemy Within. That'll be dropping on Tuesday on pretty much everything known to man except for the Switch for now. One of the other games I have on here, this one looks really cool. This is coming to the Switch on Friday. It's called Shadowbug. It's been out on Steam for about a year now and got a lot of positive reviews. But it has the aesthetic of Badland, which is that iPhone game where you're tapping and getting these birds through some pretty cool puzzles. Kind of dark, black. The characters are all black with the glowing eyes. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like you're a ninja essentially. So it kind of looks like you're combining like that art style with something like a Super Meat Boy type of game. So you're jumping around, slashing your way up these enemies to make your way through all these different levels. Ben, I know you're a huge Meat Boy fan. I know you love a good platformer. I know it's on the Switch, but Shadowbug sound like something right up your alley?
Dude, when you say the name Super Meat Boy, like my ears perk up. So when you combine that with like this limbo Badland aesthetic, yeah, that definitely sounds like something right up my alley. So I've never heard of Shadowbug actually, so I definitely need to check this out. And yeah, I'm super curious about it. Obviously, if it's anything like Meat Boy or anything of that caliber, I definitely need to give this a look.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Bender? Have you had a chance to check this game out?
I just saw some screenshots before we started recording because you guys were talking about it, and it definitely looks like something that's cool. That's my kind of game. So yeah, now that you've brought it up, I think it's something I might want to check out.
Awesome. How about you, Brent? I know you love a good challenge, and this one looks again right up your alley as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you say it's like Super Meat Boy, it's a little disappointing because that's kind of easy. I prefer more difficult games.
Oh,
like
right,
Celeste.
Yeah, of course, yeah, okay.
So, But no, this does look interesting. It's something I might check out. I like that it's on the Switch. Again, though, it's a challenging game. I'm always worried about throwing my Switch.
Yeah.
So that's always a concern.
It's not that challenging, though, so I'll be fine.
Well, that's good. Well, hey, I might have to check it out to see what Boyce thinks and what you think as well.
Yeah, totally. Cool. So, again, look for that one on the Switch on Friday. Lastly, guys, there's a lot of games coming out this week, but I think one that most of us here are very excited about is, of course, the origin story of Mr. Benderholt, Far Cry 5, finally coming out on Tuesday on PS4 and Xbox One, set in Bender's hometown of Hope County, Montana. So, we've talked a lot about this game on the show before. So this game was delayed a month, horribly coming out right now, which actually, honestly, probably fine because I'm still playing Monster Hunter, so it's still bad. But I'm excited about it. Don't know if I'm going to be picking up this week just because I have a ton of stuff on my plate right now. But, Brent, I know you're a big Far Cry fan. This one's got co-op in it, new setting, kind of a crazy sounding story that's maybe a little too real for right now. But, where are you at with this? Are you picking this up this week? Are you excited to hop in there and see what Far Cry 5 has to offer?
Yeah, I am going to pull the trigger on it this week. I'm going to pick up the Gold Edition. I want to get that Season Pass because the DLC looks awesome. The Season Pass content looks really, really good. But, we've talked about this on the show previously. I mean, and as you just mentioned, this game, the story could very much kind of coincide with what's going on in our country today, and it has the potential to tell a very riveting story. But it'll be curious to see if this does that or if this just kind of goes back to the typical Far Cry story, over the top, kind of absurd, some wacky characters, and never ever takes itself too seriously. But I do think they have an opportunity to touch on some pretty hefty themes. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna pick this up. The co-op element is very, very cool. One thing about the trophies, though, a lot of the trophies you have to get solo. There's a lot of hidden trophies. I mean, that are, and I believe that they're chapter related because there's like 9 or 10 of them that are, have to beat this solo, have to do this solo, have to do this solo. So it's kind of disappointing that if Boyce were to join me, I won't get those trophies in those chapters, so that's kind of weird. But no, I am very excited to check out this game cooperatively. From what we saw in the trailers, the co-op looks awesome, and it's a Far Cry game. It looks like an awesome world to explore, so I'm expecting a lot to do in Far Cry 5.
Yeah, definitely. I'm right there with you. Very high expectations for this one. Ben, I know we've talked before how we were kind of concerned how the story is going to play out. It's obviously, like Brent mentioned, some very hefty themes in this one. Where are you at? Are you excited about this one? Are you still kind of nervous about where the direction of the story is going to go and how the tone's going to be?
I'm very, very excited about Far Cry 5. Now that we're imminent for its release, I'm actually more excited about it than I thought I was gonna be. But from reading about the game, from watching videos on it, I'm really, really hyped to like play this game. And in a perfect world, I'd like to be able to sit down and play through this prior to God of War coming out in about a month or so. So hopefully over the next month I can get some time in with Far Cry because I really, really do want to play this game. As far as the story goes, I have a sinking suspicion that Brent, you alluded to it there, that this will be, I think, much tamer than I think some people are think that it could be. It's going to be irreverent Far Cry stuff. It's going to be probably tongue in cheek with a lot of the stuff that it does. So will it ever venture into the more heavier themes that it's kind of alluded to and explore those in any meaningful way? Probably not, if I had to guess. I actually would like it if they would, have something meaningful to say and explore those themes. But I just don't see that happening in a Far Cry game. And just the characters are clearly over the top, like crazy characters, as we've come to expect from Far Cry. But yeah, I am anxious to get in here and meet these guys. This crazy religious cult that's at the heart of Far Cry 5. Looks like it's just got some insane villainous characters in there that we're going to be meeting. The group, the kind of resistance group that you're meeting up with, seems like there's some crazy characters in there as well. So I expect this to be a good bit of fun. I can't wait to play it cooperatively. But I'm really excited for this game.
Yeah, same. So, Brent, I have to ask, you're picking up the Gold Edition. How much is Far Cry 3 playing into that decision?
Honestly, not as much as you'd think. I mean, it's cool that I think it's awesome that it's going to be there. But with as long as it's going to take, it's 20 to 30 hours from my understanding from some of the people that have looked at the trophy list and trying to figure out how long it takes. 20 to 30 hours. It's going to be very difficult to try to squeeze in Far Cry 3 or even jump into it. I do think it's awesome that it's included, but I am definitely going for the Gold Edition for the DLC packs. Those things just look crazy. I mean, they're completely off the map crazy. I mean, you got one that takes place in Vietnam, you got one that takes place in space, and you got one that's a zombie apocalypse. So very, very cool stuff. But I do like the fact that Far Cry 3 is in there. I'll be interested to see how well that game plays, if this is like a full-on remaster or if it's just kind of like a small up-res. It'll be curious to see what this is all about.
You ever play 3?
I did play 3, yes.
Okay. I know people love that game, but that's just one that I don't know. Like, I don't understand why people are all about Voss. I didn't think he was anything special or really wasn't even in the game that much.
Yeah,
So,
I liked Voss just because he was an intense character. I liked the voice acting. I thought the character was well done from like an acting perspective. But like you said, he's not in the game very long. I thought that was one of the more disappointing things about Far Cry 3 was just the fact that Voss was not a big part of the story that the trailers kind of led you on to believe it would be.
yeah, it's kind of been one of my running problems with them is, you had Voss in 3, Peg and Min in 4. I didn't feel like he was awesome. He's probably one of my favorite villains they've had in a game, and I don't think he was in there enough at all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious, where people are with Far Cry 3 now. Like you have this new one coming out. 4 was relatively good. Do people really want to go back to Far Cry 3? I don't know, but yeah. So that's gonna do it for the spotlight titles. Again, you can pick up Far Cry 5 on Tuesday, and please let us know what you think.
Yes, be sure to sound off in the comments below. We want to get your thoughts on Far Cry 5. All right, gentlemen, let's get into the news. First up, boys, we had a Nindies presentation this week that highlighted a lot of the great indie titles that are coming to the Switch. What were some of the standouts, man?
Yeah, so we had a very brief presentation. It was like 10, 11 minutes in total, and Nintendo just kind of rapid-fired as many games as they could in that time frame and gave us a taste of some of the cool titles that are coming to the Switch in the near future from an independent perspective. It's funny, man, because this is one of the things that we identified like prior to the Switch even coming out. Like one of the things we talked about on this podcast was we want to see what Nintendo's going to do with their independent games. Like, are they gonna to get with the program with the independent releases and really have an independent presence on the Switch? Not only have they done that, but they've done that far greater than I think any of us would have even anticipated. So the independent games on the Switch are a huge part of why the Switch is where it's at right now. The indie developers are bringing their games out in droves, and with this Nindies presentation here, we can see that this is going to continue into the foreseeable future as we've got some cool games on the horizon. So coming this spring, we got the Garage, very cool looking, like it's a gritty top-down shooter from Tiny Build. It will be available first on Switch. A game I'm very excited about, Luminous Remastered, a game I sunk many, many hours into on the PSP. So to see this game being remastered with, in my opinion, one of the all-time great video game songs in Shinin' will be available once again in remastered form on Luminous Remastered. This game will also be available on the PS4, Xbox One, and I believe on the PC as well. Reigns Kings and Queens is I guess is a combo of some mobile games that are available right now. Some kind of like a adventure branching story game. I don't know a whole lot about this one. Lightfall, a game that Bender is very excited about. You played it at PAX. This is revealed as a timed Switch exclusive, available this spring. West of Loathing. This is a comedy like stick figure RPG that kind of took Steam by storm some time ago. That's coming to the Switch as a console exclusive. And we also saw Pode, a co-op exploration game that's coming this spring. For the summertime, we've got Just Beats and Shapes, a timed console exclusive, awesome looking musical bullet hell game. Seriously, this game looks sweet. Something right up my alley. Fantasy Strike is a kind of a beginner's 2D fighting game. Bomb Chicken looks like Bomberman with chickens. This will be available first on Switch. And quite possibly the highlight of the show, The Messenger. This is a 2D like ode to Ninja Gaiden, like the NES Ninja Gaiden games. It's got this very cool mechanic where you switch your character between 8 and 16-bit to solve different puzzles and tackle the game. This game seriously looks awesome. This
Mm-hmm.
I've been following it on the PC, so it's awesome to know that it's coming over to the Switch now, and this will be on other platforms as well. But really excited about the Messenger. Bad North, another cool looking game, a roguelike real time strategy game starring Vikings. This will be available first on the Switch. And we also found out that the Banner Saga 3 coming over to the Switch alongside the first two Banner Sagas. So the
Mm.
whole entire Banner Saga trilogy will be available probably sometime this summer. This fall, Mark of the Ninja Remastered. Was super pumped about this announcement as well. It's a obviously a very well received stealth game on Steam and on the Xbox 360 back a few years ago. This will be remastered on the Switch and other platforms as well. And then quite possibly the coolest game we saw was Pool Panic, a very strange game from Adult Swim that's based around these like giant stages that are set up pool, like a pool table, and you've got to kind of hit your character around to the different obstacles and enemies. It's a really crazy looking game. So Bender, that's everything we saw on the show here. What stands out to you from what we saw on the Nindy Spotlight?
I think overall it was a pretty good presentation for such a short
Yeah.
just indie spotlight. But I do think West of Loathing looks interesting. From what I've heard, it's very funny and very entertaining.
Yeah.
With the stick figure art style and everything. But the standout for me is definitely Lightfall. Like as you alluded to, I played it at PAX. It's like a mix between like Ori and the Blind Forest and Limbo and Super Meat Boy. So it's got like the Metroidvania mechanics of like Ori. It's got an art style that looks a lot like Limbo, and then but the way the character moves and jumps and wall kicks and everything feels just like Meat Boy. So it's going to be awesome for speed, like people who like speed running through the levels. You can move pretty quickly. Definitely some tough platforming and puzzle solving and stuff like that. One interesting about it is that instead of having like a double jump like some games have, your character will create a box in midair as a platform. I think you can only do it like 3 times, so it's not like unlimited, but you can only do it 3 times before you hit the ground again. But that's going to be something that's going to be an interesting twist to the traditional type of platforming, Metrovania type of thing. But yeah, that game really impressed me when I played it. I didn't play it for super long, but I played like a couple of levels of it, and I thought it was awesome. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing Lightfall when it comes out.
Bender, you are speaking all kinds of my language with with your description there of Lightfall. I'm looking forward to that one as well, just from what you've heard about it. Hell, I want to play this game right now. So if you're making Lightfall, what are they? Bishop Games? Is that the people behind Lightfall? Bishop, let's get this game out really soon because Bender's got me hype. I want to play Lightfall right now.
Apparently, it's a 5-man team. So
really, 5-man team.
Very
Nice.
small development company. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So Lightfall looks totally rad. A couple other announcements we got here too. Hyper Light Drifter and Flashback, the classic Sega Genesis game, making its way over to the Switch in June. Hyper Light Drifter. Not sure what the release date is on that, but that's going to be a perfect title for the Switch as well. Frankie, what stands out to you on this Nindies list, man?
For me, I never got a chance to play Mark of the Ninja. I'm a big fan of Clay. They've made some great games. I love the Shank 2. Obviously, Don't Starve is awesome. But yeah, so I'm excited to finally get to play, like one of the games that kind of put them on the map in terms of their console development.
Yeah.
What's the name of the pool game? Pool World? Pool
Panic.
Pool Panic? That one just looks ridiculously cool.
Yeah, it looks crazy.
Yeah, there's a I think Atlas published it, but there's a pinball game like that. It's like an RPG, but you play it as a pinball game. So I love when they do weird crossovers like this. This game just looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
But what is it? Bad North?
Bad North, yeah.
Bad North.
Bad North.
Bad North looks kind of get some Advanced Wars vibes out of that one a little bit, just a tiny bit. So I'm looking forward to playing that one. And West of
Advanced
Loathing.
Wars.
Yeah, I love Advanced Wars. That was one of the. I was surprised because I'm not a big strategy game fan, but Advanced Wars hooked me. I love that game.
Yeah.
So definitely looking forward to that. And West of Loathing also looks just ridiculously cool. So,
Yeah.
And I was also surprised by the Messenger. I'd never heard of that game prior to now. So seeing that one, like you mentioned, like has a very Ninja Gaiden vibe to it. So I'm actually really excited to try that one out when that one finally comes to consoles.
Yeah, I've heard several people make the comparison, like the Messenger could be to Ninja Gaiden what Shovel Knight was to like Mega Man or like DuckTales or one of those kind of games. Like it could be like the modern reinvention of one of these treasured games from our youth and our upbringing. So,
Mm.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. That's a day one for me. As soon as the Messenger drops, I'm super hyped for Mark of the Ninja 2, Frankie. I have the game. I bought it on Steam. And I just never really sat down to get into it. Always wanted to play it. Heard great things about it. Absolutely love the art style in that game. So I'm really, really looking forward to playing that one as well. Brent, anything stand out to you on this list, man?
Man, a lot of interesting titles on there. I like Hyper Light Drifter coming to the Switch. I think that's cool. But I think the thing that really got me excited was actually the entire Banner Saga trilogy making its way over to Switch, because that's a series of games I never was able to really get through entirely on these new consoles. But to have that on the Switch, to have that on the go, I think a game like Banner Saga would be awesome on the Switch. So I am really excited to finally have the opportunity to play that when I'm on my breaks or when I'm away from home, because I really did enjoy what I played at Banner Saga. That art style in that game is absolutely gorgeous. So being able to take this with me on the go and not have to worry about it fighting with all these bigger titles coming out on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, I think that's a perfect spot for Banner Saga, and I'm really excited to see the entire trilogy coming to Switch.
Yeah, and they made a point of it too that they want the whole trilogy on there so that you can make your decisions and carry them through the saga. So you'll be able to, have your entire Banner Saga experience there on the Switch if you so choose. And it's yeah, I think it's even more potent in the face of the Banner Saga's cancellation on the Vita. So we never got that handheld like version of the game that people were looking forward to. So glad to see that it'll be reborn on the Switch. And yeah, I think like you mentioned, that's gonna be a great one on there as well. Also, alongside this, Brent, Nintendo revealed the 10 best-selling indie games on Switch, and I think it's interesting because Damon Baker, who's the kind of the head of the Indies program with Nintendo, he's the guy we see on the Nindies stream, but he had an interesting interview with Kotaku where he talked about some of the stuff in regards to indie publishing and indie games on the Switch, and one of the things he said that drives sales on the Switch is this sense of nostalgia. So people gravitate towards these games that either mimic old Nintendo games of the past or give them that like Nintendo vibe that they have when they grow up. They just want to play those kind of games on the Switch, which is really interesting. So, and you can see it reflected in this list. So, the 10 best-selling independent titles on the Switch are Steam World Dig 2, Stardew Valley, Kamiko, Celeste, Fast RMX, Golf Story, Enter the Gungeon, Overcooked, NBA Playgrounds, and Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. So, interesting, man. What do you make of that list? Especially, out of all the great independent games that have come on the Switch, to see something like NBA Playgrounds on there, like that just calls back to what Damon's talking about with this nostalgia thing. Like tons of people grew up playing NBA Jam on their Super Nintendo. I'm one of them. I played the hell out of NBA Jam Tournament Edition on Super Nintendo. So people have their Switch now, these people that are growing up now, and they see a game that could possibly recapture that type of experience they had back in back in the 90s on the Super Nintendo with NBA Playgrounds. Like they're going out and they're picking this thing up in droves trying to get that experience again. It's really, really interesting how the mind of a Nintendo gamer or a Switch owner works.
I want to ask, so what didn't NBA Playgrounds come out pretty close to the launch of the Switch? I mean, wasn't it like a couple months after?
Yeah, I think it came out in May. The Switch obviously launched in March, so yeah, it was one of the first in the first wave of titles, I guess you could say.
I can't help but wonder if that's what helped to kind of catapult it up that list there, because obviously it's a calling back to NBA Jam. Everyone loves NBA Jam. Plus, it was at the launch of the Switch when the people were like, "Man, I want something other than Zelda to play." People were looking for other games, and NBA Jam is a hell of a franchise to put out there. So I can't help but wonder if that's why NBA Playgrounds is on there as well. So on a list like that, and where the hell's 10 Tons Limited? Why aren't any of their games in the top 10? They've got like 50 games out on the Switch.
That's the thing. People can't decide what to buy, so they're split between everybody because they got a new game coming out every week. Yeah, no, that's certainly possible though. That NBA Playgrounds was an early Switch title, so we heard a lot about those early titles and kind of the ravenous need for people to have games on their Switch. So that very well could have factored into it.
Yeah, so a lot of good stuff on Nintendo. I mean, obviously the Switch is becoming a home to a lot of indie titles. It's a great platform for indies. Much like the Vita was a great platform for indie titles, the Switch is kind of like taking on that role. I mean, it's got its big first-party exclusives, but it is very, very appealing to independent developers due to the accessibility of the system, being able to take it on the go. It's very appealing to gamers to have indie titles on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other Nintendo tidbits we want to talk about. This one really stood out to me on the list here, boys, and I know you're very excited about this. Ori is making a Joy-Con with a D-pad. When is this going on sale, boys, and do you have it pre-owned or pre-ordered already?
I actually don't know when this is going on sale. I don't know that it's been announced outside of Japan yet. But yeah, when this becomes available, I'm gonna take a hard look at this. I know it doesn't have some of the Joy-Con features in it, like the rumble and all that kind of stuff is missing. Not a huge deal, but I would like to see something like maybe fully sanctioned down the line that's an actual like Joy-Con controller just with a normal D-pad on it. But in the meantime, Hori's a great peripheral manufacturer. They make some good stuff, so I feel like this has the potential to be a great product. Yeah, I'm curious to feel the D-pad, though, and see if it's a quality D-pad or not.
I just think it's strange that with all the outcry from Nintendo Switch owners everywhere, Ori's going to come out with a D-pad Joy-Con before Nintendo does.
Yeah, it's
so strange.
Nintendo's going to march to the beat of their own drummer, as usual.
I guess.
I'm pretty sure the only outcry is from you two, to be honest. So.
Hey man, I don't have a big problem with the Joy-Cons. I actually think they're serviceable. I'll say they're serviceable. They're not nearly as good as the Pro controller.
Just you have like all of these independent titles that people want to take on the go, and many of them are two-dimensional games that are better played with a D-pad, like a real D-pad.
Okay,
I mean, I don't think it's a crazy thought.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, it's just very strange. I just think it's hilarious that Ori has to be the one that do it and not Nintendo. I thought that was interesting. And the other thing I want to talk about, and this just blew my mind. I really didn't expect to even see gameplay of this, but Ark Survival Evolved is coming to the Switch. So when I seen this announcement, immediately I was like, okay, I'm not going to buy this because I don't want my Switch to explode in my hands because there's just no way the Switch can run Ark Survival Evolved. And then they had a video go up. Have you guys seen this video of Ark running on the Switch? I'm not going to lie, it didn't look half bad. It was running. It was the full game of Ark Survival Evolved on the Switch. And I can't help but wonder, boys, how do you think this game will do on the Switch?
I don't know. I mean, Ark's it's an interesting title. It has a big following, but I don't know. It seems like a game that wouldn't appeal to Switch owners, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know how sweeping the Ark reach is, but it's never a game that's really appealed to me. You've obviously had your issues with the game, so it's never something that we've really got into here. So I'm not involved in that community. I don't know like how widespread their reach is, if they're just like a really like hardcore community around this game, or if they have a more mainstream appeal. But just at first blush, this doesn't seem like a game that would appeal to your average Switch owner.
I mean, like I don't even like playing Ark with other people. I wouldn't want to play the game solo. And if I had, I'm not. Again, this comes down to the fact that I'm not going to play Ark Survival on the Switch docked when I have it on the PlayStation 4 or on the Xbox One. The game looks infinitely better on those systems. Yeah. So I'm not going to want to play this game docked at home. And if I'm on the go, I'm not always going to have access to Wi-Fi. I'm not going to want to play Ark Survival Evolved alone.
Yeah.
This
is a game that's supposed to be played like in an online world, right?
Right, like a live environment with other people, whether you're playing with them or against them. I mean, there's all sorts of PvP elements to this game, and I just would never ever want to play that game solo. Frankie, any interest in Ark Survival Evolved on the Switch?
I don't have much interest in Ark Survival Evolved on either of the other consoles, so hard pass.
Hard pass. Pender, here's your chance, dude, to finally get into Ark Survival Evolved on the Nintendo Switch. Day one, yes or no?
Nah. Not. No, never really was interested in it on the other consoles either, just like Frankie said.
Mm-hmm. And Boyce, I know because there's no D-pad on the Joy-Con, you're not interested in our Survival Evolved. Fine, we get it.
Yep, you got me. Red-handed, guilty as charged.
And the last thing we want to talk about Nintendo is they are holding a Super Smash Bros. Switch tournament this June, boys.
The thing that really stuck out to me about this is that it's happening in June. So in June at E3, they're going to have a tournament alongside Splatoon 2. They're going to have a Smash Brothers Switch tournament. So this game is going to be playable to the point where they can have a tournament this June. So it's clear that Smash Brothers is going to come out this year. Like we're going to get a Smash Brothers game this year, maybe sooner rather than later. Maybe we don't wait until November or December, like holiday. Maybe we get this game in August or something like that. Like maybe we get this a lot sooner than we're thinking. So that's exciting, man. And we know that come E3 too, we're probably gonna have an idea who's on the roster, like what this game's gonna be like. We'll know if it's simply a port of the a deluxe version of the Wii U 3DS version, or if this is a brand new Smash Brothers. So we're just a few months away now from like hardcore Smash Brothers news. So that's pretty exciting.
Nintendo holding a Smash Bros. Switch tournament this June, likely somewhere near or around E3. Boys, is this going to be one of those, we're doing the tournament now, and you can join because it's available now?
No. This will not be that, no.
They'll have a proper, like, big-time launch for it?
Yeah, for Smash Brothers, this will not be this is available now thing. This will be a big marketing blitz, and there will be a lot of hype around this game.
Okay, all right. We'll see what happens. That might be my bold prediction.
It's showing your cards early, huh?
Well, I got 0 right last year, a half a point the year before. Doesn't really matter if I show my cards.
That was a generous half a point.
It's a good yeah.
And I appreciate it. All right, moving along. Boys, the best news of the week. I mean, this one makes total sense. Modern Warfare 2 Remastered is real. Guys, it's happening.
Okay.
One little thing. One little thing.
How little?
It doesn't include multiplayer. Charlie Intel, Charlie Intel sources indicated Modern Warfare 2 Remastered is real after a listing.
Cheers, Activision. Cheers.
For the game popped up on Amazon Italy for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, priced at $19.99 with a 30th April release date. Eurogamer sources have since backed this. Charlie Intel also reported Modern Warfare 2 Remastered does not include multiplayer, and Eurogamer has confirmed that as well. So, okay, we can expect Modern Warfare 2 Remastered at some point before Black Ops 4 drops in October, but this is not going to have multiplayer. Dude, the only thing we wanted from Modern Warfare 2 Remastered was Spec Ops. And sure, multiplayer and the campaign, but Spec Ops. Now we're not even going to have multiplayer, boys. It is just going to be the campaign, and you shake your head. Oh boy, I want to tap into the rage, boys. Talk to me, baby. Talk to me.
Activision, you had one job. All right, it was to give us Spec Ops once again. We've been talking about this mode for who knows how many months now, and it's like they just ripped the heart right out of our chest. Literally, like we're this close to once again having Spec Ops available in a modern Call of Duty, remastered or not. And you decide that you're going to release Modern Warfare 2 Remastered with the campaign only with no multiplayer. Seriously. If we were to rank like the things that people liked about Modern Warfare 2, I'm pretty sure the campaign is at the bottom of that list between Spec Ops and the multiplayer. So I don't know like who was clamoring to play the Modern Warfare 2 campaign once again in remastered form. But I don't. Besides Frankie, but I don't.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't care.
I don't think there's too much of an outcry for that. So it's really very strange that they would simply just remaster the campaign and put that out, and not put out the two parts of the game that people liked more than the campaign. So I'm just at a loss for words, man, and it just hurts because I feel like we were so close to getting what we wanted, and then it just was ripped right from our hands, and that's disappointing.
Dude, look, I really like Modern Warfare 2. I really like the campaign. But I like it when it's also included with the Spec Ops and the multiplayer. That's what Call of Duty is. It's co-op and multiplayer. The campaign is there for 5 hours of, hey, let's blow everything up and be the big bad hero at the end. Cool. Now I'm gonna go do Spec Ops with my friends, or I'm gonna play multiplayer with my friends. Frankie, any interest in Modern Warfare 2 Remastered now that Spec Ops is off the table and multiplayer is off the table?
Nope. Don't get me wrong. I really did enjoy that campaign, but I'm not dying to return to it. Whereas Spec Ops and probably even the multiplayer, because that was the last Call of Duty I played, I would definitely be back in for that.
That's just baffling. I mean, Modern Warfare 1 Remastered, that did super well, did it not? I mean, I'm pretty sure that did really well.
I'm pretty sure that game single-handedly propelled Infinite Warfare to whatever sales it got.
Yeah, it did. People were only buying Infinite Warfare so they could play Modern Warfare Remastered.
Exactly.
And then you kick out arguably the most popular Call of Duty game ever. Modern Warfare 2 was huge. It was a massive title.
Yep.
And you just rip it down to the bare bones, just the campaign. Inexcusable, and I don't even want to know what the thought process is behind that.
Yeah, like
what
is the point? Are they trying to give us the whole entire Modern Warfare Remastered saga? Like this great like high level narrative that we all can't wait to experience once again. It's like, seriously. This might also lend more credence to the idea that eventually we're gonna get Modern Warfare 4, probably the next thing that Infinity Ward is gonna work on. So if this is real and this comes out as just a campaign, I don't think it's a stretch that at some point we're gonna get Modern Warfare 3 remastered, probably just in a campaign form, and they're gonna put something together prior to Modern Warfare 4, and that's gonna be their little thing. But
they could just skip that.
Yeah. Now Treyarch's this year, is Infinity Ward next?
Yep.
Okay. So that would make sense if Modern Warfare 2 Remastered comes out this year, and then sometime early next year, mid, whenever they decide to release it, Modern Warfare 3, and then bring out Modern Warfare 4. I mean, that's basically what it's looking like they're doing. Now, I want to ask you one question, boys. Say they announce Modern Warfare 3 Remastered, and we're bringing back survival mode. Where would you be in terms of rage?
Dude, I have this gif of the guy that like hits this button that says no, and like a satellite in the sky just like eviscerates the earth. Like that's kind of where I'd be at. Like I'd want to hit that button and just like start nuking something. But that's
what's gonna happen. They're gonna be like, we heard the outcry, so for Modern Warfare 3 Remastered, here's your multiplayer and survival mode.
Or better yet, here's how it's going to be. Charlie Intel is now reporting Modern Warfare 3 Remastered will be launching with just survival mode. No campaign, no multiplayer, just survival mode.
Yeah, jeez. That'd be just the ultimate slap in the face. It's just weird, man, because Modern Warfare 2 is like it's available on the PS3 and the 360, so it's still technically like an HD title. I don't know if it's backwards compatible or whatever, but it's just like, why just bring out just the campaign? I just don't get it, man.
Telling you, dude, what's gonna happen is they're gonna launch this, and like a week later, $20 DLC adds the multiplayer.
That sounds right.
If you really want to play multiplayer, you can buy it.
And then $20 more for Spec Ops, right?
Spec Ops just never happened at this point.
Yeah. We just didn't hear a
survival
cry
mode
for
will be for this one. That's what they'll do.
Sad panda.
God, that's such garbage. All right.
That's hot garbo.
It is straight hot garbo. Boys, let's talk some Destiny 2. The latest Bungie update prepares us for... This is a big week, dude.
Yeah, man.
Big week for Destiny 2. What are we doing this week?
Yeah, so we are winding down the faction rally for Season 2 right now as we speak. Brent, I think you've wrapped up the emblems or the ornaments that you needed to secure. I still need to grab a couple before this ends, so I will make sure to do that over the next few days. But yeah, this Tuesday, man, is the big update we've been talking about. Like, this is the Go Fast update. So this is one that, while it's not going to add any content to Destiny 2, it's going to do a lot of stuff on the back end that we've been looking forward to, and Bungie outlined some of that in the post this week. specifically in regards to Nightfall specific rewards. So if you'll remember, they obviously changed Nightfalls with the last update. They brought in this new scoring system. They introduced the challenge cards, which will give you, let you kind of customize your prestige Nightfall runs, make it more challenging, less challenging, depending on, what you want to do and what you want your score multiplier to look like. And then they highlighted this particular line in here for their post this week. So, quote, each terrible villain that players face should have a very rare and powerful unique item themed to them that tumbles to the ground as they collapse into a pile of bones. So this is, of course, their description of the Nightfall-specific loot that they're introducing to the game. So strike-specific loot was very popular in Destiny 1. There were some really cool items associated with that. So there's been a lot of excitement about this being introduced into Destiny 2, and even more excitement that this is only available like with the Nightfall. So you've got to go through a high level experience to get these items, and they've touched upon how you're going to earn these rewards. So let's talk about that. So once again, Nightfall unique rewards will be available with this update on Tuesday, and these rewards have a chance to drop when you complete a Nightfall activity at any difficulty. You can increase your chances using challenge card modifiers to set higher personal best scores. Earning these items may take many attempts to receive a drop, as they are meant to be rare rewards. Last week, we gathered feedback on how the community would like to discover these rewards, either through a quick tease here on the blog or from those among you who wish to be the first to show off their newly found loot. We'll be watching legends unfold as these rewards are earned by players, and hope many among you enjoy discovering these items via gameplay without being spoiled. So, Brent, I ask you, what are your thoughts on these Nightfall rewards? Two things I want to know from you. So, one, this idea that these are meant to be rare rewards. It could take many attempts before this drop ever occurs. And two, Bungie's not letting us know what these rewards are. They're going the route of they want the community to discover these rewards and kind of the word about them to go out that way. Your thoughts on Nightfall unique rewards?
Love them both. I like the fact that we don't know what the hell we're going to be getting. Okay, that's all that I want from like Destiny. Is I want to discover stuff for myself. I don't want everything put out in front of me. I don't want to just go onto the map and see lost sectors. Oh, here's where I need to go. I want to discover stuff for myself. I don't want stuff handed to me. I don't want indicators of where I have to go or what I have to do. I also like the fact that these are rare drops in the Nightfall. These are going to be. This is what I want to have, a gun that not everybody has. You have to go in and complete the Nightfall to get this weapon, get this gear. That makes the Nightfall even more unique. That's the carrot on the end of the stick. That's what Sea of Thieves needs to learn from this. This is going to make me want to go in and grind and grind and grind. Even if I don't get it the first time, now I'm going to be more inclined to go, hey, boys, I know it's not Wednesday night, and it's not our stream night for Destiny 2, but it's Thursday night, and I still don't have this damn gun. Let's go do the Nightfall again. It's going to give us incentive to go back and play the highest difficulty event outside of the raid, the Nightfall. And putting all this focus back on the Nightfall is a beautiful thing. And to have these rare items tied to the Nightfall, perfect. That's what I want to do. And I like the fact that they're not telling us what these items are.
Yes, there's this community element to that now, where the community is kind of just in unison. We've got to go into this game now and try to figure out what these rewards are, and then disseminate this information among us. And obviously, the Nightfall changes every week, so there's only one Nightfall per week. So we're only going to know what that particular item was for that week if somebody finds it, and then so on and so forth as we go on down the line. But yeah, I really hope when they say that these are rare rewards, that these are really rare rewards. Like, they're tough to get, and whether it's a specific thing that you have to do in the Nightfall, like a score that you have to hit to unlock the item, or have even a chance to get the item, or it's simply just an item that drops so rare that you've got to kind of keep going in over and over and over. Like, I'm all for that, because most of the stuff in Destiny is very easy to get, even the exotics. For the most part, you just kind of get them through these quests that aren't too difficult when all said and done. So I love the idea of this being a rare reward, and I hope against hope that it actually is a really rare reward. Bender, what do you think about this, man? What do you think about these Nightfall unique rewards?
I think that's cool. Like, I agree with Brent. It's cool to have specific rewards catered to each Nightfall, and cool pieces of gear that not everyone's going to have, and something that you have to strive for, that you might have to grind for or try the Nightfall repeatedly, but eventually you get it, and you can show it off. I like that. I like all that stuff. So I think that's a good change.
Yeah, for sure. Frankie, we're slowly pulling the rope and getting you back into Destiny 2 as much as we can. Do you like the idea of strike unique rewards? Well, I know you like the idea, but I mean, what do you think about these being like rare drops that you'd have to grind for, and the fact that we don't know what these rewards are?
Well, I mean, that is traditional Destiny gameplay to me, so grinding and replaying something over and over and over again, hoping for a rare drop, that's why I was playing Destiny for as much as I was in the first place. So I'm totally okay with that, and I'm actually pretty excited to get in there and see what they are. I think it's even cooler that we have absolutely no idea what it is. So, and don't get me wrong, I'm going to be pissed if they find a way to make like Hard Light 2.0. That would be just my luck. So, but yeah, no, that's great. That's definitely, a big motive for me to hop in there at least a time or two a week and play through the Nightfall. So, and that's something we've been wanting all along. We want, an actual reason to do this over anything else, because, I mean, that's what we were doing raids before. You can only get certain guns in certain raids. So, I mean, putting this in here is awesome.
Yeah. And that was, like you guys mentioned, that was a big thing about Destiny 1. It was like having the random weapon rolls available. Like there was grinding, trying to get god rolls of all the different guns that were available in that game. So it's good to hear that, at least on paper, it sounds like at least that aspect is going to be coming back at least in some form, with trying to grind these Nightfalls out and get these rare drops that are available in there. So yeah, I'm really excited to get into the Nightfall and see what's up with that. Some other things that are coming with this update. So obviously the competitive playlist has been talked about in terms of like the tracker being removed and that kind of stuff. But also now we have quitter penalties. So because the competitive playlist disables join in progress. So basically, if you're in a competitive match and somebody drops out, you're just behind the 8 ball for the rest of the match. Leaving matches early for any reason can ruin people's games. Starting in 1.1.4, which is the update that comes out this Tuesday, we are adding a system that can issue temporary restrictions, 30 minutes in length, for habitual quitters.
Ooh.
Leaving a match early for any reason, for improper network settings, to idle timeout while getting the door for a food delivery, can result in a temporary restriction. If you're entering the competitive playlist, make sure you have a solid connection and the proper time to complete your matches. On our side, we're also increasing security measures to improve the Crucible environment as a whole. So, Bungie has some other security stuff that they'll be implementing in the upcoming 1.2 update as well, but they're not going to talk about that because they don't want cheaters to figure out what they're doing with that, so they can kind of suss that stuff out. And a couple other notes they have about the 1.1.4 update. Full patch notes will be available on Tuesday. These are a couple of other small things that they highlighted. So the repeat reduction will be active for Crucible activities and strikes. So you won't be playing the same maps and strikes over and over. Exotic repetition reduction will also be enacted for engrams. This does not apply to milestones and other sources of exotics, so keep that in mind. The max power handicap will be increased from 40 to 45 for the Nightfall challenge cards. This one I'm actually pretty excited about, but the timer to activate patrols has been reduced from 3 seconds to 1 second. Now, this sounds very silly, but when you're in Destiny 2 right now, it takes seemingly forever for a patrol to activate. You're sitting there and you're holding the button, and the circle's just slowly turning around until it finishes up. So changing that from 3 seconds to 1 second, 2 seconds, it sounds absurd, but really, it takes way too long right now. So to have that be a 1 second timer is great. We can get into those patrols much quicker. Then they fixed a couple other issues with a couple other like technical things here and there. So, like I said, that will be going live this Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Maintenance starts 10 a.m. Pacific time. The no new players will be let into the servers, and 11 a.m. Pacific, the update is scheduled to be finished. So, it'll be a quick update, and that about does it, Brent, in terms of what we got from the Go Fast update this week. There's a ton of other stuff that we've talked about over the week, so just keep your eyes out for the full patch notes on Tuesday. But I'm excited about this update. It's gonna change a lot of stuff. specifically with the Crucible, but the weapon tuning stuff is in there. So I'm excited for pulse rifles to be like back up to where they should be. I'm excited for the Crucible to be a much faster experience. There's a lot of good stuff that's going to be in this update that's not content related, but like back end stuff that the game needs.
Absolutely, yeah. But we'll be there Wednesday night. I'm pretty sure we'll go for the call to arms milestone. We'll go into competitive play in there, do that. So that should be a good time. And then check out the Nightfall and see if we can get one of those rare drops on the stream. Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Boyce, myself, possibly Benner, possibly JD, possibly Frankie. You never know who's going to be on. We usually have somebody somebody special in the third seat. So make sure you tune in for that, the Destiny 2 stream, Wednesdays at 10. Usually followed up by a Monster Hunter stream with Frankie and Bender. So it's a double header on Wednesday nights. And the last bit of news we'll talk about are February's NPD numbers. It's that time of month again where NPD shares the top-selling consoles and software. We're going to start with software first. And Frankie, once again, Monster Hunter World is the top-selling game of February 2018. It was the top-selling game on both Xbox One and PlayStation 4, so it's a clean sweep. Number 2 was Call of Duty World War II. Number 3, NBA 2K18. Dragon Ball FighterZ was number 4. Grand Theft Auto 5 continuing to go strong at number 5. Easy, I know, you're shocked.
Yeah.
Number 6, Shadow of the Colossus at number 6. Does well in February. UFC 3 at number 7. Kingdom Come Deliverance at number 8. Ooh. Mario Kart 8 at number 9. And Super Mario Odyssey rounds out the top 10. And then from 11 to 20, the usual suspects. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Bayonetta 2 shows up at number 14. Madden NFL 18 at 15. Assassin's Creed Origins, FIFA 18. Number 18, Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet, The Sims 4, and Star Wars Battlefront 2 rounds out the top 20. No sign of Destiny 2 yet again. So, Boyce, any standout titles on this list here? Anything stand out to you?
I mean, obviously, you talked about Monster Hunter World. I mean, the fact that that's still up at the top there, even above Call of Duty, which is obviously a perennial bestseller year-round. Obviously, Monster Hunter World has some staying power. It's been an incredible hit for Capcom. I like seeing Dragon Ball FighterZ there at number 4 as well. So it debuted very high in its debut month, and it's keeping its audience there. That game has really resonated with fighting fans, and it's captured kind of the casual audience as well, just with the Dragon Ball license and how that game looks. Like, just with the amount of people that love that anime and grew up with that. That's been a huge title. The Shadow of the Colossus, man, coming in at number 6, a remaster of an old game, a PS4 exclusive that charted pretty high for that kind of genre. So really excited to see that up there because it's an incredible remaster from Blue Point. They did just fantastic work with that. So great to see that people have picked that up. That's kind of the stuff that stuck out to me.
Mm-hmm. Frankie, I want to come over to you. I know Monster Hunter World has been your jam lately. Obviously, this game has taken off. It's been a huge hit. It's the number 1 selling game for a second month in a row. You've got 215 hours. You're digging deep into the game. You're constantly fighting new monsters. What's your thoughts on this NPD list and Monster Hunter at the top, buddy?
Very happy to see Monster Hunter continuing to do very well. Obviously we know it hit 7.5 million. It's been Capcom's most successful launch of all of their games from what I remember reading, so that's awesome to see it continue to do well. I hope to see it on here for at least a couple more months. That would be wonderful. I think it's easily one of the best games that I've played this year, obviously hands down. So yeah, very 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 happy to see that thing continuing to sell. And like Boy said, really cool to see Dragon Ball FighterZ in there. Really cool to see Bayonetta 2 finally cracking the top 20 coming out on the Switch. So that's great to see people picking that up. And I have to know who the hell is buying The Sims 4. Like every month this thing is hanging at the bottom of the list, and I'm kind of shocked that it seems to have a steady wave of people running out to buy this thing on consoles every month. I don't understand why.
Yeah, that is strange to see The Sims 4 making a run there, but man, people love The Sims, dude. It's got its audience, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys see the DLC that goes up for this game. The DLC costs as much, if not more, than the game.
Really?
Yeah, they just released I think it's a dining expansion, and it's $40.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
I know the game is constantly on sale for 20, 25, 30 in that range, but all the DLC for this game is insanely expensive.
And that's why I don't play The Sims. Ever. Ever. Bender, any standout titles on this list to you, man?
Yeah, of course, I'm also happy the Monster Hunter World is doing so well. It's a really great game, and I'm enjoying it so far. And I'm happy to see Shadow of the Colossus on there as well. That's obviously one of my favorites, and I'm glad people are getting a chance to play it and everything. So, hope it'll continue to sell, so it'll get out there to more people. But yeah, other than that, it seems pretty standard. But yeah, seems like some good stuff this month.
Mm-hmm. It's nice to see Kingdom Come Deliverance there in the top 10 as well. I mean, it kind of jumped out and it had, some issues at launch, but they've since released a new patch that has apparently cleaned up a lot of those issues. I'm looking forward to jumping back into that game. So nice seeing Kingdom Come Deliverance in the top 10 last month as well. Hopefully that continues to do well for Warhorse Studios. In terms of hardware, the PlayStation 4 was the best-selling console in February. It remains the best-selling console year-to-date. Nintendo Switch remains on a record-setting pace. Over the first 12 months in the market, Nintendo Switch has achieved the highest installed base for a console platform in history. So the Switch is continuing to do well, and the Xbox One X is reported to be doing well too. So all these consoles are selling very, very well. Boys, any thoughts on the hardware side of things?
It's interesting that obviously all of these consoles are kind of like neck and neck right now. They're all in a healthy spot. Not that there needs to be any particular reason, but I'm interested if this is simply like Monster Hunter driving the PlayStation 4 sales because they've got that like marketing deal with Monster Hunter. So is that like driving the PlayStation 4 sales right now, or is this simply just this was just Sony's month to come out on top? It's just kind of these guys kind of going back and forth with this. But yeah, pretty. It's great to hear though that everybody's in a healthy spot.
Mm-hmm. Frankie.
Yeah, like you said, very very happy to see everybody kind of neck and neck. Obviously I just picked up an X, so I'm contributing for next month. But yeah, I think it's great, and I don't know about, how much Monster Hunter is driving that, because I know that Pro sold out, can't find it anywhere, which sucks unless you want to pay $800 on eBay. So I wish if Capcom runs more of those, I definitely want to get one. But
wow, is it going for $800?
Dude, yeah, that's if you're lucky, $800. That's
Jeez.
Not with the $60 shipping. So
yeah,
but yeah, that
wild.
thing's it's insane. It's a nice looking console though. I really want one. I'm sad I didn't pull the trigger on it when I could have.
It does look cool.
Mm-hmm.
Bender, are you glad that you haven't pulled the trigger on a Pro yet? You still waiting for that Spider-Man?
I am, but I didn't know how much I was going to like Monster Hunter. So, I mean, if I knew, I probably would have gotten that one, but it's okay. I'm still waiting on that Spider-Man one.
Man, I can't wait to see what that one looks like. Hope it's really good. What would you do if the Spider-Man one was just all red? Like, that's it, just all red.
I'm just worried that they're going to screw it up and it's going to look ugly. That's my number one concern about that. So,
yeah.
If it is, maybe I'll just buy a regular Pro. I don't know.
Ideally, what would you like to see on a Spider-Man like designed Pro?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind if it just looked like his chest emblem, like it was kind of blue, if maybe some red accents with like the white spider design and like some spider web design in the background. Mm-hmm. I think it would also look okay if it had like just a picture of Spider-Man like sitting on a building or swinging or something like that. I mean, that would look cool too. So I'm not sure, but I mean, there's so many different things they can do with it, and I've just seen so many of their custom consoles that just don't look great. So that's what I'm worried about.
I think it'd be cool if the Spider-Man one was just like a picture of Peter Parker just sitting at a desk at school.
That would be sweet. Yeah.
He's just standing there getting yelled at by J. Jonah Jameson.
That would be actually pretty unique. I think that'd be an interesting twist on things. So, but that's your NPD numbers, and that's going to do it for the news this week. Quick PSA, there will not be a podcast next week for the holiday, but we'll be back the following week. However, make sure you stay tuned to the YouTube channel. We will be streaming our attempt through the Leviathan raid.
Are we sure there's not going to be a podcast this time?
Yeah, we're absolutely sure there is no more podcast. We're still dealing with all the complaints of when JD was on, so we're still trying to work with legal on that, and then we'll see if we can do a podcast. But currently, there is just a stack of complaints this high due to JD, which is no surprise.
They're
really.
probably from JD. Okay,
that's a distinct possibility. So yeah, just a quick PSA: no podcast next week, but we'll be back the following week. Gentlemen, where can we find you gaming and tweeting? Franklin.
You can find me on Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, Nintendo Network, pretty much everywhere at Viper Strike. Definitely stay tuned to our channel this week because I do want to do something cool because I bought these.
Oh, boy.
These are Monster Hunter blind boxes, so I'm going to probably do an unboxing video. I've never done one before, so.
Ooh, nice.
I think that'll be fun. So those came in today finally after a month, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Can't wait to see what they look like.
Yeah, me too.
Bender?
You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Bender_guitar. You can find me on PlayStation Network and Nintendo Network at me_Bender. And I'm on Xbox Live at meBender82.
Awesome. Boys?
As always, Brent, I'll be not tweeting at Piccolo930. Of course, that's my PSN ID as well. So you can find me on Xbox, on the Switch, at Piccolo930. The Tuesday night Indie Spotlight takes place on our YouTube channel, so make sure you're following us over there, Short Pause Gaming on YouTube. Happens every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. And, we'll fire up a new indie title, see what it's all about. And you should come over, like the videos, subscribe to the channel, get in the comments, all that fun stuff. We'd love to see you there.
Awesome. You can find me on Twitter at TheDude1979, Xbox Live, TheRealDude79, and PlayStation Network and Nintendo Switch, TheDude79. Make sure you visit the website, www.shortpause.com. Follow us on Twitter at TheShortPause. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Google Play, and Stitcher, or you can watch it on YouTube, Twitch, or our Facebook page, all of those, Short Pause Gaming. If you like this podcast, if you really like it, go over to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, write out a nice review. If you're not quite ready to give us a 5-star rating, that's cool. We don't want any fake ones. Send us an email, podcast@shortpause.com. Share with us your feedback, criticisms, your questions, anything you want us to talk about on the show. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to share your opinion about one of the many topics we talked about tonight, we want to hear from you, and we'll share it on the next show. So podcast@shortpause.com, or hit us up in the comments on the website for the post for this podcast, or on YouTube in the comments. We're always checking the comments. We'd love to hear from you, so make sure you sound off. For Mr. Boyce, Mr. Holt, and Mr. Ayler, I'm Brent Felsing. Thanks again for watching. Have a great night.
Good
Cheers.
night.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
For
Cheers, Brent.
sake.